Yo guys, how's it going? Today is the last but one stream we'll be working on Lenny and Carl. We need to get this guy finished off so that we can continue with the other giveaway model on stream. We need a name for this guy. Well, he's got a name. But here's our orc looking suitably badass, frankly, right now. Filming this guy for a YouTube tutorial on how to paint green skin. I just realised. Illuminate. Didn't have the lights on. What crazy shit is that? Comradson, how you doing? Moon Tyrannid, what are you doing, dude? The Crooked Grin, Akuna Matata, Commissar Bob, Des, and Viking. How are you all? I hope you're having a great weekend. This is the last weekend before the Necronathon, and to my left is my dot kit. To my left, Big Brom, thank you very much for that sub. 9 months now, dude. Get yourself a new badge. Good work. Cheers, brother. Thank you very much for that support. Let me show you what we've got in this box. This is all the Necrons that I have here right now. Mr. Nick is still getting the crons to me in time for tomorrow for me to get some work done on them. But we've got some Locust Heavy Destroyers, we've got Six Shooter Man, we've got a couple of characters, we've got a couple of Overlords, the Psychomancer, Chronomancer with the Spider Dude, which I think is on the wrong size base. I think they're meant to be on 50mm bases, not 40mm bases, so I need to get a base for that. So, moving on. A couple of Royal Wardens, some Scorpec dudes, a Scorpec Lord. He's here. We've got all of the Silent King, and of course 3 Doomstalkers. So very, very cool set of figures to paint. We've got plenty of other things to add to that. I worked it out in points totals. In points totals, it's 3,920, so nearly 4,000 points, and I'm tempted to root through and find a Psychomancer, a Plasmancer or something, and another Scarab base to try and get it to just over 4K. Just over. That's the plan. We'll see. We'll see. Plasma Sight, that would do it. A Plasma Sight and a Plasmancer. It's 85 points. It gets me to just over that 4,000 points. That'll do it. That will do it. Right. Viking, that's... You're probably right. I don't know. I'm not a historian. Frankly, I don't give a damn. But it was fun. And that's what really mattered. Right, so we need to work on the shadows for things. We've done a lot of it on Lenny, as you can see here. He's got several shadows, but the environment around him hasn't. We need to do a lot on this. Behave. This. And then, of course, these 2 bits. But what we need to really concentrate on today is the lower sections of it. Essentially, if I can get all the low sections of this lot done, then we can get it all on the base today, and that's the really important bit, is by the end of this stream, this needs to have all of these elements on it. The Kitsune Adventures, how you doing, Inks? Good to see you. Thank you very much for that sub. 6 months! Superstar. So, yeah, we need to get all on here, so we can get our pumice and so on here. So by the time I get back to doing this tomorrow evening stream, that's dry and ready to get some paint on it, because we haven't done any of that so far. We've got to get the paint on, we've got to get the OSL effects on it, we've got a lot to do, and everything is going to be very much tight and claustrophobic, so it's going to be a very tricky stream getting all that together, but then he will be done. So let's get to it. We've got our shadow colors that we've been using: black, purple, and Incubi Darkness. This is a really, really good paint from G-Dubs. Like, I'm very critical of a lot of their stuff, but we do shout them out when they get something really right, and this paint is one of those that is really, really right. We use that a lot in the latest Patreon video, especially with Patreon, which was the remainder of the guide on how to paint Blood Angels. So if I grab this dude, here's the mini we were using throughout all of that video. Anything that isn't red on this is what we showed you how to paint in that video. Liang! How you doing, bro? Thank you very much for that sub. Love this. Just high quality tabletop stuff. Nothing crazy. Oh, and we're on a hype train. Oh, damn. How you doing, dude? I got time for a quick smoke after the stream, if you want one. It'd be a short one. Otherwise, we could find a day. Monday evening, potentially. That's going to be well late for you. That'll be like so late for you, it'll be the morning. Could do a Monday morning smoke if you want. My time. Alright, that's the palette ready. Just going to add some water to that. I know we can get going on with these shadows. So everything we've done so far has been using paint that's not quite a glaze, and that's kind of what we're going to end up with here as well. We can't use anything that's too thick. Everything's got to be very subtle. We're talking about the effects of light, or the absence of it. Moon Tyrannid getting his sub in, hitting that hype train goal. 8 months now. Maxim, you absolute gen. Thank you very much. Bands Lost Arms. Watched it this morning, enjoyed the ASMR drinking sounds. What? Pro Jam, how you doing, dude? Right. Let's get some shadows on. So we're starting off with the purple mixed with black. That was the base coat we used for the original shadows. Real dark purple. And as we got higher through our underhive setting, it got more and more towards blue. So the areas on the top of this were actually almost Sigmar blue before everything got darkened down a touch, and before the light came in, making it look a lot more dark than it is. Before all that happened, this was quite a bright blue. We're not going to go back to that by any stretch of the imagination, but let's get some very thin dark purple going on down here. The Awesome Fletch, there's a name I haven't seen in the chat for a while. How are you, dude? Jason, what up, bro? Sorry I can't stay today. Have a good stream. It's no problem, bro. You take care, man. So let's get the rungs on this ladder. We've got all these little bits of extra detail, and all we want to do is just make them ever so slightly different from the environment around them. We're applying this highlight to show that there is detail there. When we take the photos of this, it's going to be in quite a dark environment. You can hear you take a mouthful of drink a couple of times. Oh, right, okay. On the last stream? Oh, well. Oh, God, that, yeah. Phew. Oi. Oh. Sorry about that. Yes. So the reason behind that, Des, was I recorded the audio, and the video is long. Right? That is just over 30 minutes of video tutorial. Longest video I've produced ever. And when I was doing the audio for it the first time round, I do my audio in one take. I think for me that's the best way of doing it. And we got to 28.5 minutes and my computer blue screened. That's never happened before. I've never just had a crash. So I was obviously extremely worried. Like, is everything alright? Am I going to be able to stream? Have I lost all that file? And there was a completely corrupted 28-minute long audio file, which did me absolutely no favors whatsoever. So I had to do it again immediately because I was running out of time to get everything done. So I could barely talk through some of that, you know. The Sigvald Mini, I think, looks really good from certain angles, and then I think looks meh from others. The whole, like, assless armor and stuff is just a bit meh. I don't really get why, but whatever. I don't play Sigmar, so I'm not their target market. I know somebody that's bought one to convert into full Grim or something like that. But became unemployed recently. Oh shit, dude. I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Is that downsizing at Tesco or? Got to feel a wind on them cheeks. Nah. Am I getting the Ventress model? No, I thought about it. I really did, and I even thought about it just as a stream model to paint and give away. But I just don't really like it very much. There's something weird about the face that just meh. And we could do a helmet swap and head swap and all those sorts of things, but meh. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. It's just I think it's like an unnecessary part of the mini. Like, just give him some nice golden armor. Some good news. I'm finally on the gender clinic waiting list, and my parents aren't going crazy this time. Well, congratulations. They even changed his head. They did change his head. Yeah, it wasn't like it was bad before. It's not gotten much better for me this time around. But hey, it's one of those things. It just is what it is, and that's the end of that. Like I said, I'm not a big fan. However, next weekend pre-order, I'm gonna be like money at that. So this part's probably horrible. There's no cheek armor. Brilliant. All that excess. Yeah. The old Sigvald Mini was fucking beautiful as well. Like, really well done. I've got a suspicion it was one of the first ones that like Latham painted when he went to the studio. But I can't remember if that's right or not. I might have made that up. But it was such a nicely painted miniature. Right, just going to hit some of these shadows a touch. Don't do a lot around here, because obviously we've got a lot of the light coming in. But certainly this side, we need to get a few more shadows on. We will probably take a photo from this side to showcase like that angle. So all this needs to be done. I had left Tesco peak pandemic to go into admin in the financial sector. Oh, fuck. Unlucky, dude. Unlucky. Plank Walker, how you doing, bro? Darker Design, how's it going? I'm doing well, dude. I'm doing really well. I'm going to try and power through the vast majority of the shadows on Lenny today. We want to hit all of the stuff that's lower down on the Mini, because if that's done, it means that I can do the assembly and get all of this put together. And then I can work on the higher areas because they're obviously much more easily accessible. So, it's all good. It's all good. Got a busy week next week, as well as obviously doing commission work and trying to get our Blood Angels commission to a state where it's nearly finished. As well as doing that, we have the Necronathon 2 to prepare for. We've got quite a lot of minis behind me. Nick is dropping off the rest of them on Sunday in the morning. And really, really looking forward to it. We've got just over 4,000 points worth of minis to do. We have 2 days to paint all of that. Sarah, how you doing? You know what? I'm just going to put my order through the store this time around. Rather than use your web form. I appreciate, obviously, everything you do for me and everything, but you're putting some extra work in on these because you've got to create the basing bundles and so on. So I just put it all through the store. It's also something I can get done today after the stream that way. I hope you don't mind. Did you not wrestle with Sigval's pants? No, God no. My wrestling attire was depending on like when in my career. So at the start of my career, I wore like a very thick black judo gi that we cut the arms off of. And a black and white mask, like a demon's head mask. And then towards the end of the career, I was in much better shape physically, so I used to wrestle without my shirt on. And I wore a pair of very baggy, very glossy kickboxing trousers that we sewed a like white padded line into. And it was just elbow pads, knee pads under the trousers and gloves. That was it. Oh, and ring boots. Tell you what, I create a code to give to you. If you want, that's great. Waiting for Jay to shout at Sarah. Hey, Polly. I said, hey. Okay, cool. I'll try and do it after the stream. Head on over to see Jackie pretty much straight away because I'm not going to see it at all next weekend. I've got a quick video to record before I go, which is to get some more people from the internet in general voting on the Streamiversary lists! Exclamation point list! Got to get in there, get that list down. So for those of you that have been living under a rock or otherwise not able to join in the stream over the last forever, it feels, it is the stream's second birthday in April, last weekend of April. And last year, for our first birthday, we painted a Chaos Knight in old school World Eaters style colours. And we raffled that off. And that sat in Mr. Nick's cabinet ever since then, doing nothing and gathering dust. Now, I wanted to make sure that the giveaway this time round is something that people could use. And so what I've decided to do is we're going to paint and give away an army. But not just any army, an army that's chosen by the community. So if you are someone that would like to have a 40k army, or a demon's army for fantasy, you know, we're not going to paint a Sigmar army. I'm just not. Just no. Then go check out the link in that post in Discord. Read the post, digest it, make sure you understand it, because we've had some pretty out there army requests put through. They've either been deleted by Des or deleted by me, frankly. No darker highlights there. So like what GW done? No, because we're painting it too. So GW's army painter, army creator thing is like, here's some boxes of plastic crack. Mine is, here's a fully painted army to a high, some would say very high, tabletop standard. And hell yeah. So in the lead, we've got 3 armies right up there at the top. There's a Tau army that's full of broadsides, a commander, and some fire warriors. And that's cool. I can paint Tau. So a trillion edge highlights, but I can paint Tau. There's some really cool color schemes you can do on Tau as well, especially with an airbrush that really, really make those models sort of jump up and scream and shout. Malatrice, I mean, read the post and then you work out if that's the sort of thing that would be allowed. You tell me, bro. Not to mention the fact that Death Corps of Krieg are currently fully sold out, depending on where you are in the world. And by that I mean about to be replaced with Plastic Steel Legion. Bliss G-dubs, bliss. Oh, I know, dude. I know. I can see straight through the troll. It's all good. So, we've got the tile list. There's a Tyrannid list, which is very similar to the one I used in the example that E2 put through, which is a Carnifex. And I can guarantee you, if that one gets voted up, then there's going to be 2 Carnifex painted, because they come in broods of 2. So why would I just paint 1? Why just do 1 when we can do 2? That makes no sense whatsoever. Danny! 10 months, dude. Thank you very much for that sub, and congrats on that milestone. Danny is the latest student Patreon member. He's going to be getting some painting lessons from me. I'm going to be working on some Age of Sigmar gold people. Not Space Marines. Whatever they're called. Right. So we're being quite quick with our highlights on this, knowing that we're going to blend up several layers, and this is like just the base layer. We don't want to take all day just doing these. We need to get through this now, and so we're having to put the pedal to the metal and so on. Only 1 army I can vote for. Brilliant. The other one that's winning is one of my own army lists that I put in there, thinking, fuck it, this will be fun. It should be a cool thing to paint. Though I realised yesterday I could do a Blood Angels version of this just as well. And that is a Space Wolves army. It's Bjorn the Fell-Handed, a Wolfen Dreadnought, a Venerable Dreadnought, and a unit of Intercessors. Gonna get myself some breakfast and try Blood Angels video. Awesome. Awesome, dude. That's a very unsavory conversation to be having there, young Daniel-san. Right, this goes on the front, so this is going to be exposed. This will have very little light, but let's just build up some quick volumetric style highlights. So we're using very thin paint. This, because it's so dark as well, over something that is already dark, you're not going to see very much of that, but once we start getting another highlight on there, it will really start to come through. All this is going to be getting a matte varnish as well. I'm going to last things that happens before it gets put on that base, and that will help stop some of the natural satin that we've got from the flow improver predominantly on this. But yeah, I realised you could do a Blood Angels version of basically that list: Librarian Dreadnought, Furioso Dreadnought, so like a Death Company one, any other Dreadnought, and then some Death Company, or well, no, Death Company are troops. Death Company Intercessors troops. Because I think that would look fucking ace. High Fleet Stabilo. I mean, I know you'd be desperate for that, because then you've got the Swarm Lord. You'd have some troops in the name of a load of warriors, a couple of Carnifex, some Zoanthropes. You'd actually have a decent, maybe even up to like, maybe approaching 1,000 points. So, you know, you'd have to go all in on those raffle tickets. Like, all in. So, I don't need a mortgage payment. I need Tyranids. Here we go. But yeah, that would be cool. As far as the nids go, I'm kind of down for any paint scheme apart from the coconut crab one. I just don't like it. Fine with doing complicated schemes. Well, good stuff, Danny. But I think it's probably better that you had a bit more time with your airbrush. As much as we sort of learn at the student's pace, and you're not rushed through anything, there's no point in learning if you're not given a chance to learn. For instance, F4 UK! It's that time of the month again. Bro. That's nasty. Alright. So is that all the purple we want to get in on the lower part of some of these areas, I think. Just to help showcase that there is more of that detail. And then we'll actually get some purple on in this section up here. So one of the reasons why we're doing the shadows before we start working the highlights is we've got a load of glazes to do right here. And so I want to show the bars. You'd never build a furnace, something that exists to expel heat, with a set of bars that had a like melting point or even close to it, anywhere near the temperature of the furnace itself. Remember the overripe banana gaunt scheme from like 3rd edition? Yeah, I do. Yellow with brown dots. We did a yellow with black stripes, like a hazard striped one for a Broodlord. Frozin! How you doing, brother? I will YOLO all my meeps if the Nids list wins. I mean, it's going to be a raffle, so. There's no way I'll ever build an army to paint slowly just by random shit that looks good no matter what race/game. That's a good way of doing it, to be honest, dude. But yeah, how are you, Chris? If you guys aren't following Chris, let's get a shout out for the man, please. Very old school streamer. Been around for a while. Loving the Space Wolf stuff you're working on. I've got one of those Phobos librarians to do myself for my Death Watch. I really, really like the model, but I'm not sure how I'm going to do the cloak, whether I'm going to do it as a cloak or some sort of weird camo pattern. I think I'm probably just going to do it as a cloak. Yeah. How many merger after you have, Jay? Does the big gaping hole on the gun annoy you? Do you mean the Doomstalkers? thinner. Because no, it doesn't annoy me at all. Like, the Necrons look great, don't get me wrong. We've got a color scheme that is really effective. Rebelson666 getting his sub on 4 months. You absolute lad. Thank you very much, brother. Mucho appreciado. But yeah, I've got 3 of them. The hole in the gun doesn't annoy me in the slightest bit. You just grab one of them. Like, if you mean this, I couldn't give a fuck. Like, not a single solitary fuck. If you mean like this, no, not really. Like, the little gap at the top isn't the end of the world. But yeah, there's 3 of those to do next weekend. That's right, Frozin. It's the Necronathon 2. I just need to assemble a plasma sight and another... What's he called? Plasmancer. And then... we have 4,000 points of crons to paint in a weekend. 4,000 points of crons. 1 weekend. Some would call me mad. How many more streams for this piece is done? 1. After today, 1. The time limit is end of play tomorrow. And that gives me time next week to take proper photos of it. And get them over to the Amsterdam Battle Brothers guys. Because after this is done, the next streams will be this guy. So, using an airbrush or paintball gun at that point. Airbrush, dude. And it's not... Okay, so it's like 4,000 points, but it's not that many minis. Because there's 3 Doomstalkers. Well, those 3 together are closing in on... Well, it's 420 points for all 3 of those. 420. The Silent King is 450 points. You know, so that's nearly 1,000 points out of that. So, you know, the points sounds impressive, but it's not really. But yeah, here's an interesting workup for Orc Skin. This is going to be next week's YouTube video, how to do Orc Skin 2 different ways, one with an airbrush, one without an airbrush. And that workup from Purple, kind of interesting. Right, what we're doing now is we are taking that mix that we've just been using and we're turning this into a glaze. How many points do you have in your pile of shame? Not a lot. So, the majority of this is giveaway minis. And there's a drawer full of stuff down here that's like odds and ends off sprues from commissions, like odd characters that I've bought or been on like fronts of conquests and all that sort of stuff. So they're all giveaway things as well. My own pile of shame is a 2,000 point on a nose Grey Knight army and a... Well, it's not quite 2,000 points, so I'm waiting on next weekend's pre-order for the Kill Team boxes for 2,000 points of Deathwatch. And the Deathwatch are going to be a stream, like studio army. I'm going to paint those over several weekends across the course of the next few months. And that's basically it for my own pile of shame. Right, so what we're doing here is we're putting on some very, very thin coats of paint on these struts, bars, whatever you want to call them, because we want to create the effect of the light building up around the sides of these metal bars, not the bars themselves being nearly molten. Don't we get that white hot heat on them? Want to have the light doing that. Scrub Lord getting his sub on. 3 months now, mate. Thank you very much. Your support means a lot to me, honestly, guys. It really does. It means I can eat. It's not that bleak, I promise you. Don't measure your pile of shame and point you measure it in years. I could get, if I didn't have the commissions, I could get everything I've got in the house unpainted, painted in a couple of months. The difference is, like, is it a army like the Necrons that we are getting a quick but very effective job done on? Or is it an army like my Deathwatch, which I intend fully to take to tournaments to be an advert for my business? So, the Necrons, speed paint to a... For me, I'd call it an okay tabletop standard. It's nothing mad. Like, there's no really crazy stuff. The Void Dragon is mint. He's one of the favourite minis I painted last year. Just, mwah. Oh, man. I fucking love that mini. Painted 2 of them now, and I'd gladly take more commissions for Void Dragons. I'd paint nothing but Void Dragons for a couple of months. That's how cool I think that mini is. There's so much potential on that guy. No, not seen any of the March footage, actually. Can't have seen the Deathwatch. They're brand new. They're in a box. Just there. Great big pile of it. 3 colour minimum. Necrons have got that. Counting the base. In fact, the Necrons have got that regardless because it's red, black, and silver for the main body of the Cron. Right. Got to absolutely nail this brush stroke, so I might go a little quiet. But when you just do a quick ring around this, enhance that shadow. And one of the ways you could do this would be to gloss varnish all this area, but that seems pretty OTT for just one brush stroke's worth of work. But certainly that's a way of decreasing the surface tension. Another thing you could use is some Vallejo Flow Improver. It's a surfactant. And that really means is it lowers the surface tension of water or another liquid, such as, say, acrylic medium. That'd help it get into the recesses just a touch as well. There you go, have some fucking science knowledge bomb drop. There you go, so that extra bit of definition in there. I want to paint white/golden rope. So you can try metallics or just build up NMM from brown to white. Oh shit, you want to do that? Brown is too dark. Do a load of research on white gold. Because my mum was bizarrely allergic to regular gold. So her wedding ring was white gold. And you could tell the difference between that and something else. But definitely get some reference material on the go. I'd say you could maybe start with something like Steel Legion Drab. That is like that kind of tan colour rather than brown. The issue you're going to have is keeping the sort of contrast up at that stage. But I'm not really the non-metallic metal guy. Like I can do non-metallic gold. I think I can do it quite well, but I haven't painted like white gold, for instance. My golds are usually a very yellow, very kind of buttery gold. And so we work up from dark brown, which is normally like burnt umber or rhinox hide, that sort of thing. Lozza! Getting the Loz and the Froz in today. How are you both, you awesome people? Long time no see. Oh. How's things with you? Let's get a shout out for Lozza if we can. So we are still working on Lenny and Carl. And right now we're glazing purple over this yellow-orange mix here. I'm going to darken down the bars a little bit to have all of the effects here being the light glow and not the fact that the bars themselves are molten. That wouldn't be the case at all, I don't think. You're great. I'll bet you are. But good to see you, and of course, Mr. Chris as well. Now, Chris, if you're here, last time I called you Mr. Chris, someone was like, Mr. Chris. I'm like, it's a Red Dwarf reference. He'd get it. He'd love it. Do you get it? Danny! Thank you for that sub, dude. That's 3 months now. You absolute little superstar. Don't forget, guys, all of you that are subbing will get 3,000 meeps, which we'll use next weekend for a chance to win that £50 hobby voucher. We've still got the regular giveaways next weekend, as well as some bonus Necronathon giveaways. And during that giveaway, we've got a lot of stuff going on, actually. A lot of stuff going on. What are we giving away? We're giving away a load of Rivalcraft basing packs. Because there's no point in doing a long stream without some sick-ass giveaways, right? Because that's what makes it part of the fun for me. So we've got some basing bundles from Rivalcrafts. We've got some Rivalcrafts gift vouchers to go out as well. We have made that ever so slightly too thick. One sec. Just coming in with a little bit of water on the brush to help thin that and just move it around a little bit. So we've got some Rivalcrafts basing bundles, some Rivalcrafts gift vouchers. We've got some token sets, some Necron themed objective markers, and like measuring widgets. I'll show you them actually. These are cool. These are really cool. I've got a set of these for myself, which I'm going to try and paint next weekend as well. But we've got 4 of these things to give out. Oh, you fucking legend, Lee. He's giving me the whole set. So we've got score counter, player 1 and player 2. Takes D10s. We've got 2 measuring gauges. 3-inch, 2-inch, 1-inch, half-inch. 2 of those. So you obviously got... That's not 6-inch. That's 5-inch. Don't know why you need 5-inch, but I think that's a Sigma thing. This, which goes off of the objectives. Now, these aren't numbered 1 to 6. They are A, B, C, and D. Because you normally have 2 different kinds of objectives in your game. But sometimes you can have like other ones as well. And this goes on there like so. You can find out if you're 3 inches away from the objective or not. So these are super cool. And I can't believe he's giving us that as well. So, fucking legend. This is Lee from Strata Miniatures. Absolute badass. Big supporter of the channel. We've got 4 of these to give away. They're really cool, right? Properly Necron themed as well. If I can paint up a set of these for myself, I'm going to. I've had a set for months. I'll see if I can get one of them done as a painted one to give away too. But I can't promise that. Can't promise that. What would you glaze over fire? I have like 10 go so I can test many things before hitting my scions. What do you mean, what would I glaze over fire? Why are you trying to create fire or are you trying to remove fire? Because to remove fire, bucket of water. Question unclear, dick stuck in toaster. So we've got a load of those to give away. We've got probably 2 miniatures, painted miniatures, to give away. There'll be minis that we paint up in the Necronathon that will be given away as prizes during the Necronathon. And there's every chance that one of those minis will be a Scorpec Lord. I painted my ghost in the same way as my scions, so I want to make the colours blend better. I didn't even know you'd painted scions. Sorry, mate. You've kind of, I think, assumed that I can remember something that I obviously can't. There. Big Dino! Coming in strong with a raid. Voodoo Graphics clearly predicted that. Let's get some love in the stream for Big Dino. How's it going, dude? How is your stream? What were you up to? Flickster! Let's get a shout out for you as well. Big Dino says it's going well. Let me give you a follow, brother, because I don't think I've seen your name before. Boom. Much love, dude. Miniature painting from Brisbane, Australia, it says over here. Nice! How's things out in Oz? Rumble, what up? Who else we got? 2212 Studios. Good morning, Jay and all. How's it going? And of course, Flickster. What a lad. An absolute lad. Going well, dude. Going well. We are working on glazing in some dark shadows around this furnace. Basically, what we're painting here is part of a diorama. We've been working on this for several streams now. This is Lenny. Lenny and Carl, his little familiar. But Lenny is a genius called Abominant, and he is making his way through the Underhive. As you see, all of the Underhive is dark. Breathe hole! Cheers for that, host, man. Hosts are super, super important to streamers, so thank you very much for that. We've got a lot of light sourcing. We've got a couple of areas of bright green from this palm scanner and these little safety lights down there at the other end. But Lenny is making his way to this furnace. He's smashing it with his hammer. And what we're doing now is we've got to get all of the elements that we have painted to go together for this diorama. All of the lower portions and the harder to reach portions done today so that we can get it on its base. As long as we can get it on its base today and get the texture paint down for the pumice, the ground texture, then we're fine to finish him tomorrow. But we've put a lot of work into this guy, as you can see. Right, there's been some significant amount of time spent on this dude, and I think we've really got that dark and light feel to it. So I'm really, really happy with the way he's turned out. Just on that sort of home stretch now, and that's adding in the extra detail to things like this that clearly need it and deserve it. My guy started set on fire. You said the colours. Right! Scions of the Flame, not Tempestus Scions. Can you see why I was confused? Fuck's sake. Look, I deal predominantly with 40k. If someone says Scions, I think super elite stormtroopers. I don't think edgiest new Warcry warband. Right, so essentially you need to blend the fire in together, right? So from what I can remember, bear in mind, someone's got brain damage here. From what I can remember of your Scions, you had like a sword that was like, here's the red bit, there's the orange bit, there's the not orange bit. And so you need to glaze one over the other to help balance that transition out, and then do the other one over that one to balance that transition out. And it might be you go like left to right with your glazes, and then afterwards go right to left with your glaze as well, so that you're blending it both ways. If you glaze, say, orange over red, that's going to have a different final effect than red over orange, and so you might have to do a little bit of back and forth on that to make it all sort of match up and work out for you. But glazing is one of those things that there's almost no point where you're finished with it. You can keep going and going and going and going and going if you want. That's one of those times where you have to decide that you're done with the miniature, because otherwise you're there forever. Like this purple we're putting on here, we could keep doing that until we've got full opacity. Obviously that's way too far, and then we'd end up glazing back the other way. And we could glaze back way too far till we're at full opacity again, and it never ends, right? Furniture is love and banter. It's how we are. Same reason you Aussies give your mates the most abuse. Yes, exactly that. Like, certainly English men, specifically men, will tear into their mates something rotten. And that's how we say hello. Peckish! How's it going, bro? I'm doing alright. How are you? Working on the bars for this furnace. I'm going to try and get all of the awkward bits of shadow done in the next hour, so I haven't got too much longer to spend on this area. But it is a focal point, so it does need it. Right, I'm going to go with something that isn't a glaze, just so we can hit some of these recesses a little easier. So this is why you should never thin down all of your paint. Just sort of leave some water on the palette, and then pop in and out of that bit of water with your brush to adjust as necessary. Kind of like season to taste when it comes to food, right? Because if I had thinned all of my paint to a glaze, I'd have to get more paint out of the bottle, and therefore I'd be wasting paint, and that's no good. You don't want to do that. Stinger, how's it going? Good morning, Mr. Mohawk. How's things? New boss happy at work? On the verge of getting fired already? No. New boss is a tosser. But hey, at least I get the benefit of that, right? No, what Rob's referring to is obviously now we are a full-time miniature painter, content creator, streamer, and so forth. Like a lot of people, got made redundant during the pandemic. You know. Oh, hold on, everyone. Danny thinks he's internet famous now because he's on a Hellstorm video. Lutin! Cheers for the follow. About to do a full PC system case swap of my stream and work PC. It's a nervous day. You'll be fine, dude. You'll be fine. Just doing a case swap. Right? What could possibly go wrong? Nobody answer that for him. Nobody. Okay, Danny. It's alright, bro. It's okay. I've been vaguely lurk watching this come together, looking really solid, dude. Oh, thank you very much, dude. Really, really appreciate it. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. So, give you a follow back, bro. There you go. How's things for you, anyway, man? Nothing. Nothing could go wrong. I know, right? Oh, here we go. Like, well, I was on Winter's video. Fucking hell. You guys need to chill. Join when I stream once every 3 months. Hey, it all helps. It's getting that follow up over on YouTube. You know, that's where it needs to be, right? Right, I think that's all the shadows. Now I just need to glaze out a little bit more of that. It's a little bit rougher as you get close. I called Danny a possible bot when he followed my stream due to timing, so we've been joking about it. He is definitely a robot. Definitely a robot. You know, don't accept any lies from him. Honestly. Des, exactly, mate. Yeah, so famous, all the fame. I can't remember which tournament it was, but I once got a shout out at a table at a tournament that I wasn't even in, and I wasn't even in the conversation either. I remember Scrivo was doing like a hand cam thing at the table. They had like a roving reporter style thing, and it was Scrivo. He was at a table and they cut the Scrivo and they'd left the microphone on the camera on. And I'm watching this tournament in the background while I'm painting. And all of a sudden I hear Scrivo go, "Oh, Mohawk Miniatures, Jay." I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? So yeah, that was a weird one. God of Heckfire. That's a very... In fact, speak of Scrivo, and there he is. Do you remember that? I can't even remember what tournament it was. It was a 40k tournament, that's for sure. And I don't do too many of those, but... yeah, Glorious Badger. All the cool kids coming here today. How's it going? Big Dino, cheers for that follow, man. Going well. Going very well. We are approaching the sort of final elements of this. And in fact, I'm going to put that down before we do any more glazing to it and start working on our next shadow coat, which is adding some Incubi darkness into this. Yes, mate, it's looting. Oh, we've already prepped our palette. It's on the palette already. So let's mix that into that dark purple we've been using. Get some nice blending going throughout. So who's excited for the Warhammer reveal stream today? I don't even know what's on it. I saw the logos for things that are going to be there, and I didn't see 40k or Kill Team, and I'm like, okay. I'm going to look at whatever else instead that's more interesting, like this Magnolia War. I am. It's all Sigmar. Well, I'm glad you're excited. I am kind of excited about the Cursed City, actually. Like, I'm really looking forward to that. I hope it's as good as the old Warhammer Quest. Did anyone else here actually play that? Because that was a fucking great game. Like, really, really cool game. And more people should have played that. I loved it. I thought it was the absolute dog's dangly bits. No, I just think miniatures are neat. Cool. On Warhammer Quest in the 90s, it was amazing. It really, really was amazing. Played a ton of Warhammer Quest. That game was brutal. Yep. It's about Space Crusade Space Hulk back then. So I never had Space Hulk. In fact, it's the one Games Workshop game that I've never owned a copy of. Is Space Hulk. Space Crusade, I had the Project Android one. And I had some of the minis, because the other one was like an Eldar Attack. In fact, it was called Eldar Attack, I think. I had some of those minis, but I don't know where I got them from. It must be like a car boot sale or something. It's got the minis. Danny, you absolute boss. Thank you very much, dude. Let me give Luton his meeps. There you go, fella. All sorted. But yeah, I never played Space Hulk. No, that's a lie. I played Space Hulk once in GW when it got... I can't remember if it was a second or third release. Yeah, not sure on that one. But yeah, I played it once, and we got horrendously fucking mauled by Gene Stealers. I just remember it being the most unbelievably horrible thing to play. Super difficult. Battlefleet Gothic, I had no interest in whatsoever, unfortunately. Got some interesting news, by the way. Ordered directly P3 paints. They got shipped in 1 day. P3 are the shit. I use so much P3. Honestly, if I was like abandoned on a desert island and had sorted all my shit out, so all I had to do was miniature paint. They said you can have all the paints you want, but for only one company, pick one, it would be P3. P3 is the business. P3 is absolutely the business. Like, no understatement. On my desk right now, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 GW paints and 4 P3 paints. And the only reason we got so many GW paints out is because I was using predominantly GW paints to paint some orc skin for a YouTube video. That's it. Signature yellow is the best yellow I've used. I mean, I rate this so hard. Like, so hard. Flash Gitch Yellow is the nuts. P3 are very hard to get hold from any UK stores. Yes, definitely. Signar Blue Base, definitely. The reason being is that while they're manufactured in the UK, because they're manufactured by, I want to say it's HWG or MWG. I can't remember the name of the company. They are having the same issue that everybody else is having when it comes to lockdown and production. But they've always been a little bit like hard to get. The ones from me that I absolutely... So they are a US-based company. It's Privateer Press, which is run out in, I want to say, California. But the paints are manufactured here, which is one of the reasons why I love P3 Paint so much, because I know I'm supporting a UK-based business. But for me, the Thramar Black, Menoth White base and highlight, and Sickly Skin, Morrow White, Like, these are the pots that I've bought that are on standby for when I run out, because that's how fucking good they are. Which reminds me, I need to back up sickly skin. No, I don't. No. There we go. Like, these paints are the must-haves from their range. Like, they are so good. And they're the most amazing utility paint. I don't think you'll be able to looting, because they are manufactured by a third party over here, rather than having like their own factory. Let me look it up. I can give you the manufacturer's details. HWG Paints. To be HMG. Yes, it is. HMG Paint. These are the people that make P3 Paint. The one that I really want, if anyone has a hookup for this in the UK, Secret Weapon Miniatures Tire Black. This is literally the best paint in the world for painting black. Accept no substitutes. This is fire for painting black. If anyone's got a hookup for that over here, please let me know, because I need a case of that shit. Their washes are really good. I use a lot of soft body black. We used it on this, in fact. One of my favourite washes from them is just their blue wash. Straight up blue wash. And it lived on a shelf in a local-ish game store to me for so long that the guy that owned it, that the store, just gave it to me. The heat, the heat is so good. If you're doing any kind of like engine flare, not engine flare, what are we talking about? Like exhaust heat thing, heat bloom, whatever. They're really, really good for that. I tend to use just some really, really thin down orange, purple, blue, and black. But heat staining, thank you. Need that list of top paints at some point. I do, mate. I do. It's going to be an admin day when we're not Necronathoning the absolute madness that will be painting 4,000 points of Necrons in a weekend, including the Silent King. Oh, yeah. That's for Admin Mondays. See Jaeger knows. This week's Admin Monday is getting the stuff ready for the Necronathon, which is next weekend. All the giveaways in the world next weekend. Sons of Rolo! Thank you very much for that sub. 26th of March, Element said they're posting mine out. I bet they're not. Green Stuff World Darth Blue. I've never used a green stuff paint. And I actively hate colour shift paints. It's just not my thing at all. For me, I much prefer my own transitions, my own reflections on stuff, which is why I matte everything I do so that the highlights are exactly the highlights that I've put down and nothing else. Voodoo Graphics, peace out, man. I also have a much more cartoony method of painting than a lot of other painters. So my heat stain goes from orange through pink into purple into blue into this super bright blue at the very end. You can order from the USA. You want to split an order? No, because the postage cost, basically. As much as I love this paint, this is why I'm finding ways around using it. So Different sepia, Agrex air shade and bluing, all through an airbrush, gives a nice transition. Let me show you mine. Let's grab a Titan. So like I said, it's very cartoony. And this is in fact not the best example of it I've done, which would be on some of the more recent weaponry. But there we go. It just adds so much to it. So you need to find your own company and get them to make those paints for us in the UK. Alright. We can go in and partners. You and me. We call it Badger Hawk Paints. Or Glorious Mohawk Paints. There we go. Jaeger, hit us up with some costs for that. And definitely maybe. See, that's what you're getting out of me there. Definitely maybe. Praise be to the glorious Mohawk. For fuck's sake. Oh, that's not going to be a thing. I mean, I know Dulux have said they'll match any colour, right? Right? Can we get emulsion going through an airbrush? How much thinner and flow improver do I need for that, other than all of it? So oh, God. And yes, Des, we are pushing for partner this month. We're going to make the application for it. Next week, actually. I'm really excited. It's probably going to fail. I'm all 100% set out for fail on this one, right? But Glowhawk for short. Glowhawk Miniatures. I like the way this sounds. The sole reason we are pushing for partner is it is the stream's second birthday in only a couple of months. And there are people that have supported the stream since literally day one. Day one of being an affiliate, there were people that subbed that weren't real life friends of mine, and they still watch the streams now. Which means they've probably got something wrong with them. I mean, that's a lot of listening to me talk shit. But I want to be able to give them a 2-year badge, and you can only do that if you're a partner. That's really annoying. So we want to hit partner so that we can give them a cool badge for being a 2-year sub. That's honestly it. That's the only fucking reason. How shit is that? Everyone's like, right, I'm a partner because the prestige and, you know, dollar bills raining from the ceiling. It's like, no, I want to give a cool badge to somebody. That's all. I prefer Badger Hawk purely because I really don't see that kind of abomination of creature. Does it have Badger's face on a hawk's body? Does it have a hawk's face and wings on a badger's body? Damn. Or is it just a furry hawk? That's a nightmare creature right there. Epic Ants! 6 AM over here and I can't sleep. How are you? I'm good, dude. Sorry to hear you can't sleep. Reality check, sub badges and emotes are the only reason for partner. They are the only reason for partner, as far as I'm concerned. It would be very different if we had, like, I don't know, 1,000 people in stream at all times. But then we'd already be partner, right? So it wouldn't matter. But for me, it's literally, I just care about the badge. That's all. I just want the badge. Let me give Rocky and Janelle send their badges, please. Right. So working these highlights up here, we're getting a little bit more to it. Remember, all of this shine will be taken away by that matte varnish. So now we need to start getting some of these highlights further up. Now we've got obviously some light sourcing coming in here, so we need to be careful with some of these. And obviously we've also got some very straight lines to try and hit. And while this is essentially just background stuff, things are happening. Science Pie! Dude! Thank fuck it's the weekend. Cheers to the painting company, Jay. Hey man, my pleasure. My absolute pleasure. Whereas Badger says, I just like a bunch of daft emotes. I know, being stuck at 5, you're like, there's so many more emotes I could do. And now I'm becoming a little bit more confident with Photoshop, and we got the ability to sort of make our own emotes rather than have to get somebody else to do it for me every time. There's so many emotes that I could do that I'm sure would be absolutely awesome, but we need partner. We need partner for that. So we're still using paint that is kind of a glaze. It's a little thicker than the usual glaze. A little thicker than some washes you use, but if you're used to the army paint washes like me, we're kind of painting with something about that consistency. Also, if you've not used army painted washes and you're still using Games Workshop washes, sort yourself out. Go and get some army painted washes, and then throw your Nuln Oil in the bin, because Dark Tone just whips it out and beats it to death with it. What did Peckish do? What? You've seen Badger Bum. There we go. Was that on Badger Watch? Jan! All of the cool kids coming hanging out today. How you doing, brother? Always good to see you. Right. Just looking at how these highlights lie. We're changing for Citadel washes. Most of the armies are at least 3,000 points painted and worry about the shift. Honestly, you won't see it. And look at it this way, right? Let's say the first 1,000 points you painted, you probably learned quite a lot from that 1,000 points. And then the next 1,000 points you painted, you've taken what you learned and you were painting better. And you've built on it. And so the next 1,000 points painted, even more so. So there's already a shift in first miniature to last miniature. It's going to be there anyway. The fact that at some point you ran out of whatever paint it was you were using and bought another pot, and that other pot had a ever so slightly different ratio of medium to pigment, that's changed things. You know, all of these things would have changed anyway. So really don't worry about it. It's just one of those things. My knights, the first knight I painted looks like trash. Looks like fucking trash. He's the one with only one arm at the moment because I had to steal his shoulder joint for last year's birthday stream because I lost one. No, that was it. I got given a kit. I bought a knight kit second hand and one of the shoulder joints was missing. So I had to steal his. And I've got another one that was resin cast from Taro. I just haven't got around to fixing him yet. But that's the reason why he is behind the wall. So on his base is a wall about here. Because I think the leg plates look like shit. Whereas the latest knights... Oh yeah. They look banging. But he looks ass in comparison. So... don't worry about it, man. It's a thing that happens naturally through the progression of any army. Alright, let's work on this side. Let's get some of these little dials and things as well. Again, we're not going to do highlights that are really bright, but we just want to showcase that we've acknowledged the detail. We've done something to help bring that detail out. And as a result, hopefully we'll do better in this contest. Remember, we're aiming for second place because first place is fucking Rumpelmaster's Gazgol, which is obscene. Stu is one of my favourite people, and he's a fucking legendarily good painter. So, quite stiff competition is not doing him justice. Master Mouse! Going well, dude. How about yourself? You alright? What am I doing? We don't need to be doing that side of things. We can do that when it's glued on the base. So let's go around to this section now and get more highlights put on here. Again, there's a lot of gloss in the recesses. That's because of the particular wash we used. That was that secret weapon, soft body black, in fact. It's a very glossy finish to it, which makes it ideal for doing things like streaking oil and all that sort of stuff. Come on, so Bob, that was very, very bleak. Like, this is not a hopeless endeavour. Second place prize, bro. First loser. What made it? Oh, fuck, dude. Sorry to hear that, man. It sucks. It's one of those things that happens a lot right now. Happened to me. But fortunately, I have this to fall back on. Which is super nice. Just spending my channel points and pleasing the algorithm. Science Pie, absolute legend. All praise be to the holy algorithm of Twitch. Let's get some chance for its machine spirit. Save enough, make Jay tell a story. Yes. This is the way. This is the way. Just plan on sitting at home and playing video games for as long as I can before I start again. Fair. Got to save them up, Danny. That's all. Just got to save. Des, redeem, tell a story. Okay, Des. What would you like a story about? Give me a topic. Let's hope the stories this time around are less... less, like, deeply, deeply personal. Funny injuries. Well, that's not Des. We need Des to give us the topic. You want Des? Don't try and impersonate Des. Hear you praising another painter as we all stand in awe of your work is a very high accolade. Oh, breathe hole. Like, I am an amateur. I'm a scrub compared to a lot of miniature painters. The time you nearly lost your mind painting Necrons. There's a YouTube video on that one. Go and watch it instead. I've pre-recorded that story time with Jay. There you are. In fact, everyone go and subscribe to me on YouTube. I'm nearly at 1,000 subscribers. Oh, now I feel like Mikey. Okay. At which time? Because those fucking ghost arcs, bro. Those fucking ghost arcs. Ugh. Never again. I even got offered one for free, and I'm like, no. You're not Mikey, you have actual content. Mikey has content. If you go back through his video library, you'll find some. Luton, absolutely, dude. Like, it's not something we've been, like, aggressively pushing. because I'm still trying to build up a library of stuff there to make it worth somebody going and having a look. But it'll happen one day, you know. Once I feel that there's enough stuff there, enough guides and tutorials and so on, then we'll... Like Mikey, your giveaways work. Brilliant. Got 5 little subs on YouTube from a quick shout on Valrak's live stream the other day. Cheers. I love Valrak. He's such a great guy. Heart of gold, that bloke. It's just a shame he's got a cabinet full of yellow. Right, so story. Have you played a game against Valrak? No, because then he wouldn't be undefeated in 9th. He thinks he's a world champion because he won a game against Elliot. So, like, I am a world champion. I'll push his shit in so hard. I'd love to play him though. Just like I wouldn't even take a hard list. Just fun game, you know. Bet your knights hate those bananas. So Glorious Badger, I am going to be permanently scarred by Imperial Fists. Despite having never lost a game to somebody playing Imperial Fists, because of the small amount of time that Imperial Fist Centurion Devastators would do an average of something like 40 mortal wounds. Nothing but the pain train on that one. I'm going to grab some of that Signar Blue base. Oh god, that sweet rule. No. Just no. Mr. Brutal! How you doing, bro? Long time no see. I genuinely like Ultramarines. I'm not even trolling. Like, if you sit down and you think about the most iconic paint schemes in all of Warhammer 40,000, Ultramarines is right fucking up there at the top. Yeah? If you're looking at the lore and everything else, then sure that they've been a little bit ruined. But basically Matt Ward fucked the entire 40k universe to death. Right, we've got a mix of Incubi Darkness and Signar Blue base going on now for a slightly brighter highlight than we've just been using. I actually like the blue and gold because, again, it's a really smart colour scheme. Blue and yellow, very classic, but in the same sort of vein that anyone that uses Goblin Green and some shitty flock dry brush yellow to base their miniatures. Looting, for me, the original Necron lore, where unless you're the Silent King, everything else is a menial that has no will of their own. I love that. I love that. It's very, very much like the Hive Mind, though. So I'm kind of glad they changed it a little bit. But Necrons should have the most horrible... Like, you know how some of the AdMech servitors, people think that's a horrible existence. There's an engram chip that the Tau have. And the AdMech was slighted by somebody once. And so they got this person's like memory thing onto an engram chip. And they put it in these servitors. And these servitors get the shittest jobs. Like, absolute bottom tier shittish jobs. And every time they break, the AdMech replace them for free, just so that the person that slighted them however many years ago gets to experience all of this horrible existence for forever. That's bleak and fucking horrifying, right? The Necrons should be one level above that in terms of just how dystopian things are for me. It really, really should be. For me, I genuinely love the fact that Zarek is literally king of all and nothing else even registers to him. He is the epitome of aloof. I love it. I think that's the way that Necrons should be. 100%. I'm as soon as they started making them space Egyptians instead of space skeletons, it started to dilute it a little bit. Rules-wise, I think we need it. All right? And as someone that is predominantly into the games for playing the game or into the games for tournament play, rather than into the games for the story, though I still love the lore, I'm glad we have them as that, because it brings variety to the table a little. And I know a lot of people will like one particular like household or chapter or dynasty in this case or whatever over other, because they like the story of blah. And so that's cool. It helps engage people, and that's never a bad thing. But overall, I would much rather the Necrons just be absolutely mindless slaves, but without the mindless part of it. So completely beholden to the will of their Lord and Overlord and Pharaon and Zarek in that order. And essentially they're all in their own personal hell. Like, unyielding, unable to resist, aware. I think, to me, that sums up the malevolence that you get out of the guys at the top of the chain. How about a tournament story? Tournament story. What's a good tournament story? Let's see. What was the last? So it was No Retreat. We've done a pretty big breakdown on No Retreat. Give me a topic about a tournament story. It might help my my memory sort of pick one out. You might be on Zarek today, actually. Glorious Badger, we're painting Zarek next weekend when we're going to paint 4,000 points of Necrons in a weekend to the same colour schemes as my previous Necron army. The Kyberdyne dynasty, all based on, of course, the most famous Necron of all time. The flayed one that was the Terminator. Ooh. They look good. They look good. Yeah. 4K. $4,000 points. The radiator. Oh god, yes, yes, absolutely, Des. That's the best one. Are you out of your mind? I'm not out of my mind. I will be afterwards. So here's a box of Necrons, and in here you can just about see we've got the Silent King in various sub-assemblies. We've got some Doomstalkers. We've got a Scorpec Lord that will probably be given away after he's painted. We've got some characters: the Hextech Shooty Man, the Psychomancer. Some Overlords, some Wardens, some Scorpec Destroyers, some Locust Destroyers, a couple of Cryptex in there. And then being dropped off by Nick tomorrow morning is 25 Immortals, 20 Warriors, I think 18 Scarabs, 2 Doom Scythes, 6 Ophidian Destroyers, 3 Spiders, is that it? That can't be it. There's like 80-something minis. Oh shit, we didn't do any Scrum post. Bam, there we go. Blah, 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 blah. Battle Scribe, here we go. So, Catacomb Command Barge. This is what we're painting. A CCB. Chronomancer, Overlord, 3 of them. Psychomancer, a couple of Wardens, Scorpec Lord, fuckload of Immortals, some Warriors, Plasmacytes, Spiders, Hexmark Destroyer, Scorpec Destroyers. At least 9, but I think I gave him all of them, so we've got a lot more. That was an amazing expression, brilliant. Some Ophidians, some Doomstalkers, some Locusts, and some Doomsides, and the Silent King. If I add to this the Plasmancer that we've got to paint, and the whatchamacallit, Plasmacyte. So we've got 2 of those with the Ophidian Destroyers, and another one with the Scorpex. Puts us to 4,005 points. There you go. So that's what we're doing next weekend. 4K. Right. The Radiator Iron story. This was in Prague. This was myself, Mikey, and Elliot when we went over to Prague to film the Prague GT. About this time last year. That was one of the last big tournaments I went to, aside from No Retreat. After that, it was all pandemic all the time. Nobody's allowed outside, nobody's allowed to talk to anyone. That was the end of it. Now, Mikey has this tradition when he's at a tournament doing the casting that day one is shirt and tie. And he didn't tell me this. And I'm like, well, if you'd have fucking said, I'd have brought a shirt. Not bad, but never mind. Now, we're in a hotel in Prague. It's called Top Hotel Praha. Top Hotel. And I've read some very, very dubious reviews on this place just before we went. Like, literally 2 nights before we went. Let's have a look at this expression. Size 6 Ophidian Destroyers. That's my thinking face. Occasionally, potentially, my vinegar stroke face. But, yeah. He's got this tradition wearing a shirt. The hotel, bad reviews, like I say. And things like people getting stuff stolen out of their room, kind of bad reviews. So we're worried before we go out there. Mikey's really worried about the several £1,000 worth of kit that he's taking with him to film. He's obviously concerned about that, as you can imagine. But we get to the hotel, and it's not bad. It was clearly built at the height of the 60s, where everything was super industrial, because this place, from the outside, looked like it was just made of concrete. And you walk in, and there's marble everywhere, and you're like, that's a bit of a change. But okay, it's all right. We're here. We're in Prague. So we get there. We've been traveling since 9 o'clock that morning. By the time we get there, local time, we're about 6-ish. I'm like, look, we need to get everything set up ready for tomorrow to start the broadcast. And then once that's all done, then we can go off and eat. So I'm like, all right, cool, let's get to it. We get everything set up. We go off, and unfortunately, the only place around that we can find that's open is a KFC. Except even that was a bit weird. So we got to the front desk, and the hotel restaurant was closed. And Mikey said to the guy at the front desk, which was this guy who looked like he was about 17, and it might have been his first job. He said, look, I know the restaurant's closed. Is there anywhere around here that we can get some food? And he went, no, it's impossible. Right. There's nowhere around here? No. There's no restaurants around here? No. Well, at all? No. Alright. We'll find something. Meanwhile, I've been just getting the Google Maps up on my phone. I've looked up food near me, and there's fucking restaurants everywhere. And I'm like, all right, this guy's obviously been told you can't direct anyone to a restaurant locally. Everyone needs to eat at a hotel. I'll tell you one thing I think they're going to show is fucking Black Knights from Undead. That's going to be a thing. I bet you that's probably Curse City rather than anything else. So we leave the hotel, and there's a KFC literally a quarter of a mile down the road. It's like, we're off to get some KFC. So we go and eat. We have some food. As someone that I'm now able to eat more gluten than I could before, but it's been something that I've not. I shouldn't be eating a lot of gluten. I just need to be careful. But at the time, it was a case of, well, I'm just gonna have to sort of put up with it for this holiday and get through it. So it wasn't ideal to eat KFC. Get back to the hotel, and that was it. That was it. Just before we left to go and find food, we were thinking, the room is hot as hell. What for streams? How you doing? Flickster, you and me both, bro. I think that's something that me and my other half could really, really play. Have a lot of fun playing. So, real excitement for that. Just before we left, we said, look, the room is very, very hot. Can you turn the radiator down? And the guy was like, no. I'm like, all right, we just need the key to turn it down. And I'm like, no. It's impossible. All radiator set automatically. All right. Brother, this radiator is like 60 years old. It's not got like a clockwork thermostat or something, you know? Can we just get the key? Can we turn it down? No. Alright. Okay, but we just want to change the heat because the windows don't open too much, and there's 3 lads in this room, and you know it's going to get pretty hot at night, and that's not ideal. And the guy is just like blurted out, "No manipulate radiator." Right. Hang on a minute. You're struggling for certain words in English language, but manipulate is one that you come out with. Damn, bro. Like that's some interesting vocabularistic choices. That's right, vocabularistic. No manipulate radiator. Okay. So we go out, have some food, we come back, and Mikey's like, oh, fuck, I need to iron my shirt for tomorrow. Did you see an iron in the room? And I'm like, no, mate, I don't think there is one. Because when I get somewhere, I like to hang up my clothes and stuff. There is. There is indeed. It's 2 o'clock though, right? So, we go back to the hotel. We get to the front desk, and it's still this lad. And Mikey walks up to the front, and he's like, hey, mate, do you know if there's an iron in the room? I need to iron my shirt. And this guy was like... So Mikey went, for a shirt? Like, need to iron it? Get the creases out? This guy went, oh! You mean iron? Yeah, and an iron? Yeah, iron. Yeah, an iron. Iron! Apple iron, exactly, yeah. Here's the irony about this. Mikey has to pay a deposit of €20 to borrow this one iron that the hotel has. They have literally one in an entire hotel that has 600 rooms. One iron. So we're expecting, after he hands over €20, we're expecting, like, some iron that's so good, you will never have to iron that shirt again. Like, super steam clean, everything. The works. That iron would make you a cup of tea and do naughty things to you. What we get is something that looks like it was created when the hotel was created 60 years ago. Has a frayed cord at both ends. And you could replace for more than €20. Sorry, for a lot less than €20. So Mikey's got this iron on. And the kid at the desk is like, so you bring back right away. It is about 12 at night. Gone midnight. And Mikey's like, well, no, I'm going to go and iron my shirt and then I'll bring it back in the morning when I come down. You're like, no, we need you to bring back right away. And he went, well, I'm not going to. Right. If another guest need the iron, then we will have to come and knock and wake you up. How many fucking people do you think are going to need the iron between now and when I come down here in the morning at about 8 in the morning? Is there going to be a mad rush on needing the iron? Now, the weirdest thing about this was, other than the fact that both myself and Elliot are pissing ourselves at this point, the weirdest thing about this was, the following weekend was the Northeast Open, which Mikey did the commentary with Elliot and Tom. And he was staying in the hotel there, and again, there was no iron in the room. So he went to the front desk and said, hey, there's no iron in the room. I need to iron my shirt. Have you got an iron? And the guy went, oh, you mean iron? He's like, what the fuck? Have I been saying it wrong my entire life? Maybe I have. Maybe it is iron. Just madness. Absolute frigging madness. But there you go. That's the story of the iron and non manipulat radiator from Top Hotel Praha. If you feel like being lied to, I am Iron Man, yeah. If you feel like being lied to by some hotel staff, then do check that place out. Because not only was there a KFC a quarter of a mile away, if you expanded your search to a mile, there were about 40 restaurants. One of which was amazing. It was a steak restaurant. It's specialised in grilled meats. And we all had steak. Elliot had veal for the first time in his life, and they did a good job with that veal. They as someone that's worked in Michelin kitchens, like, they fucking got that. My favourite thing about Prague, though, is that over here you can never find them. Over there, jalapeno chili poppers are fucking everywhere. Every restaurant we went to, jalapeno chili poppers. And this steak place, they made theirs fresh. So you got fresh green jalapeno stuffed with like grated like red Leicester or double Gloucester or something, and some mozzarella and some cream cheese. Oh, that's one of my favourite like junk foods ever, is jalapeno chili poppers. I love them. Oh, just one of the nicest things. They're my jam. Totally my jam. But anyway, going back to the conversation in chat about the Warhammer stream today. It's all about Age of Sigmar, so I've got practically zero interest in it, unfortunately. I'm not going to put it on. I know a lot of you might want to watch it, and so we might lose quite a lot of viewers at that point, and that's fine, but only because the stream normally finishes at 2:30, and I'm not going to get to see my other half next weekend because we're doing a Necronathon. So as a result, I'm going to spend as much time with her this weekend as I can. So won't be extending the stream time today. I might not watch it because they chat so much shit through it. I quite like Eddie. I think Eddie's a decent guy. I think he's probably a respectable human being that you'd enjoy a few games of 40k, or equally enjoy just having a beer with. I think Adam Troke is someone I'd actively avoid. AJ, peace out, bro. Smoke stream you in the reveal. But the thing is, mate, it's an hour-long show, and my stream finishes halfway through it. Because what we'd normally do is we would switch to a full-screen view when they're doing the preview of whatever the thing is. But otherwise, it would live in this box down here instead of the Instagram gallery. So it's not our first rodeo doing it. It's just this time I think we're just not going to, because none of it's about 40k. If it was 40k related, then I'd want to watch it. And whilst there's obviously going to be some Cursed City reveals, which I'm really excited for, it's not something that I'm like busting a nut over. So Scarlet Furley won't tell the boss. Cheers, bro. I'm glad you got my back. Boss is always watching. He's such a fucker. Gotta admit though, we've got quite a lot of people on for me just painting a piece of scenery. So, dude, the vampire stuff they're coming out with looks really cool. I don't like the lady with bats in her hair, and I think a lot of people share that opinion that that's kind of a polarizing model. People either love it or they hate that one aspect of it, but like the rest of the mini. I really like the Underworld's warband, gang, team, peeps that they've done for them. I think they look great. I think they look really, really cool. You've got something there that really encapsulates the feel of the old school Vampire Counts army, which is an army I had back in the days of, I'm going to say, 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy. I think that was right. Skull Pass. Pretty sure that was 6th ed. Right, I got some highlights to do with the brighter OSL colours on this side later, but for now we're just hitting the lights this side on the shadow. Yeah, I really, really like those, because I had a Strigoi vampire army back in the day, predominantly Strigoi, because I was working for GW at the time, and metal miniatures cost me literally pence. Literally pence. I had everything for the Vampire Counts army. So we had all of the Von Carsteins. We had the zombie dragon with the kind of Nostradamus. Not Nostradamus. What's the name of the vampire? Bald head, big nose. Nosferatu. We had some of those. It was a really, really, really cool army. And I ended up selling it. It was about 6,000-ish points worth. I sold that and my Skaven when I got out of the hobby, and went to Copenhagen and Malmo for 10 days. It was banging. Really good holiday. Nice part of the world, that. think the model suffers from stock paint jobs. Oh, don't. I don't want to shit on GW because they're doing a really, really good job. But as somebody that is a professional painter, not a pro painter, does anyone share the opinion that I have that the heavy metal team sometimes, not all the time, sometimes just phones it in a little bit on their paint jobs? There was it's an elf model, the cow elf ones, and the mini is really nicely sculpted. It's got a veil, and the artist did a tremendous job on the face where they had this like slightly see-through satiny veil over the skin tones. Great job. Really, really great job. But the rest of the mini was so bad you could see visible brush strokes. And that's after they... If you guys don't think they photoshopped their minis, then you are deluded. Like, those minis get the photos taken and they go to Photoshop, they get tidied up in the same way that, like, magazine photos get tidied up. Not too much, you know, because they probably don't need to. You know, something's being painted to a high degree of skill. But some of that stuff gets, like, edited out. And even after that, there's still brushstrokes on the mini. You're like, really? Studio J7? Dude! Thank you very much for that, host. How are you? Let's get a shout out, please, for both Studio J7 and the lovely Mrs. Studio, Green Eyes Creations. Cracking streamers. Do give them a follow if you can, guys. Heavy Metal Team may also be restricted as to what they can do. Not really. Because the Heavy Metal Team literally paint using brushes, paints, and some of them use a wet palette, I think. But it's not like they're being sent home from the office going, right, you've got to take your airbrush with you because they're not allowed to use one. You're just not. And GW have probably given them painting lamps and so on. And a complete painting setup for someone that isn't a streamer. If you want some really, really good lights, like I've got here, will only set you back £100. So it's not like they don't have all the things that they would always have. Studio J7! How you doing, you superstar? Speaking of Void Dragon. God, I love that mini. One of my favourite minis. Lights are expensive. Lights are expensive. Both these light panels, these are some newer light panels, are about 30-ish, 35 quid each. Then you've got to buy an adapter for the DC. You've got to buy a stand for them as well. So you're looking at around £50 to £55 per light. And I've got two of them. But that might sound a lot for a light, but when you really think about it, especially when it's your job, and the company's probably buying something like that for you, it's really not. And if I'm honest, you don't need lights like this to paint with. My old lights that my housemate used, they're two IKEA angle poise lights. Like the ones with all the levers that you turn. They're 13 quid a pop. Excluding bulb, I think. You know. You don't need to spend just inside a fortune on some lights. You can do, and if you're a streamer, if you're someone that needs a setup that looks good on camera, then it's going to cost you more. That's the unfortunate truth of it. It's just going to cost you more. And there you go, there's Luton. Uses Elgato streaming lamp. They're not cheap. they're really not cheap. But you are getting something that is kind of quality. So I feel at that point you're probably getting what you pay for. The only Elgato thing I use is their HD capture card. And I've been reasonably impressed with what that's allowed me to do. I can't say it's better or worse than anything else. I haven't tried anything else. We went right in at the top shelf for it, essentially. Right. I'm going to hit some more of these rivets up with one more highlight into the blue. Not the Jessica Alba film. And then we will move back to some of the other areas of the terrain. Either large spectral light or the lumens. You do, because you've got to illuminate your entire room. This is from so behind the desk, just here, is the kitchen countertop. And we've got the kitchen, the hallway, downstairs bathroom, utility room, all that side. For this side, I can touch the cabinet and nearly touch my monitor at the same time. I don't have a massive space to illuminate. So these little lights, especially on the streams where it's nighttime, these do so much background lighting for me. Studio J7, it's never needed, but credit where it's due, dude. You're a very entertaining person to watch. How can we not? In fairness, easy, I'll get that for my room lighting too. It's good diffuse lighting against my wall for ambient lighting. Nice. Yeah, exactly. Because you and I do things that are not just painting, it's definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Right, what time are we at? 1 o'clock. So we've got, call it an hour left on painting these things. And then we need to get everything on the base and get our pumice down so that can set and dry and cure between now and tomorrow night's stream to enable us to finish this guy off. That sounded better in my head. How did that happen? Where's the music? It's playing. I can hear it. Doom, 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 doom. There's something else I'm going to try and get done on Admin Monday. Either this one or the next one is find a few extra songs for the stream music. I haven't done that in a little while now. It's about time. Mr. Brutal, I think that might be a headphone related issue. Or maybe just do a quick refresh and that might sort you out as well. Right, so we've got our shadow highlights on this as well now. What I'm going to do is hit that with a quick blast of varnish. I've got the door open, so we are working in a ventilated area. It's not a well ventilated area. Definitely, when you're using this stuff, do not sit inside in a little room and do it. It's horrifyingly bad for you. Wear a respirator and everything else. Studio J7, no worries, dude. Thank you very much. All right, need to get onto that with some highlights in a bit, but that will take away all of the gloss sheen from the wash that we used and matte everything down. The irony is not lost. It's fucking ponging stuff, like. Not good for you. Spook Skeletons! Today the winners of Warhammer Writing Contest enter the draw and might get $100 of GW voucher. Oh, sweet, dude! Good luck! Oh, speaking of, did anyone notice the please go and put stuff in the GW shopping cart once you've signed in to our new, like, one account style service and we might give it to you? I went and did it. And if I am the lucky winner, I guess I'll have a Sisters of Battle army. I looked at it and I'm like, it's an army I'm never, ever going to pay money for. I like the minis, but... meh. Viking, that is a lot more work than you think. Like, a lot more work than you think. Also, let's be honest, they needed to get the app up and running before doing so. In a meaningful way. Stuff and things. Leech! Thank you very much for that sub, dude. 3 months says thanks for the content. Much appreciated, dude. How many pots of Null oil can you fit in your car? I don't know. I would suggest none is the right answer. Wamposaurus, how's it going? They are pretty good on the tabletop. You're right. But it's an army I've got no interest in playing whatsoever. Like I'd never buy a Sisters army. Headless Chicken, cheers for that follow. Hope for some models I'd never get. Yeah, exactly right. None oil. That's right, when you're painting Sisters, it's none oil. Yes, Danny, we got the joke. If you have to explain it... Ugh. It was good for like a second, and then you ruined your own joke. Dude. Bruh. It's really, really weird highlighting something so dark with a dark-ish set of highlights. As you said several times throughout this project, all of this is me kind of winging it and hoping it works. And it's doing okay. There's almost certainly better ways of doing some of what I've done. But I have really enjoyed doing this. It's been a different experience. And I think we've managed to learn a few things from it as well. You've broken the... How have you broke... No. Pretend I didn't ask. I don't want to redeem channel points to have you tell me a story. How'd you break a floorboard, you jackass? Remember, one of the ways that we can get these highlights in nice and smooth is by keeping them thin. You can apply several coats of that same highlight, build opacity nice and gently. And if you do that, you'll get a much smoother introduction of your highlights. You also get easier application off of the brush as well, because the paint is thin enough that just bare contact with the miniature will allow that paint to come off. All about keeping that consistency right. A lot of brush control is literally nothing to do with the brush and more about what you're trying to apply with the brush. And you almost never hear that from a content creator when they're giving you tips on brush control, so do bear that in mind. Just realised we haven't done any of these lines as well, so let's get some depth to this too. Kind of concentrated all of our highlights on that sort of front facing, which is a bit of a mistake. You're hoovering too hard if you're breaking the boards. Yeah, that's right. You have to give him meat to that story. Exactly. I don't want to know, right? Brilliant. You got any links to good brushes for edge highlights? Exclamation point brush. Exclamation point brush. Honestly, bro. Winsor & Newton Series 7. I use a size 1 for literally everything. Last year, I think I broke out a smaller brush like half a dozen times. In the entirety of the year, I painted well over 400 minis. I think the total was 467 last year. And almost all of that was done with one of these brushes. They are absolutely epic. I go through a brush about once every 4 months, but I also paint for 80 hours a week. Between 10 and 20 of those is done with the airbrush. So call it a 60 to 70 hour working week for the brush to have to go through. That brush gets used so much and for so long that the bristles wear away at the top. And so I know when I need to replace my brush because it's shrunk. Like, that's the sign to swap out the brush for a new one. The brush is no longer as long as it should be. That's it. Yeah. That's so annoying. You get a Raphael for a third of the price. You could. But these are unbelievable quality. Like I said, this lasts me 4 months painting, let's say 60 hours, like the lowest sort of amount of time I spend a week painting. How many months of work is 60 hours to you of painting? Because I imagine it's not the same. You know, I imagine you're probably not painting 60 hours a week. If you are, let us know. Everybody said brush. Windsor ones are more fine. They both have uses. I've never used a Raphael brush. Similarly, I've never used a broken toed brush. Apparently, they're quite good. Or a Da Vinci brush, which I know Chris is a really big fan of. But I've used a lot of other brushes, and these for me are absolutely perfect. I like the weight of the brush. It's got a solid handle. It doesn't have a hollow handle like a lot of other brushes do. They've never been anything but absolutely spot on for me. Pay about 10 hours a week. Okay, you like the better than the Raphael. See, they've got that kind of distended bit to hold. I don't like that because sometimes I hold the brush sort of here, sometimes it's right down here, sometimes it's here, and then sometimes it's all the way back here. And so having a much smoother like body to the brush makes it worth it for me. Let's make it Orky. How are you doing? Let's get a shout out for this young lass. How are you? You streaming today? We're going to be doing some Orc stuff on stream here, actually. Very soon. Possibly as soon as Tuesday. In fact, almost guaranteed as soon as Tuesday. Heavy is good. Heavy is reliable. If it does not work, you can hit him with it. But this is something that we are filming at the moment for next week's YouTube video. This is the new Orc dude doing a workup on how to do the Orc skin. As you can see, we've got a very nice, very bright green skin with a strange workup from purple. So, yeah, very different way of painting Orc skin. Still got a few things to do on that guy with the airbrush before we get to it with the regular brushes. But, how am I holding up? Doing well. Doing really well. Ask me next weekend when I will be possibly dead during the Necronathon 2 giveaway spectacular 4,000 points of Necrons in only one weekend. Can it be done? Is it even possible? Is painting the entire army in one weekend the future of army painting? The answer to all of these questions is maybe. Rip your brain. No, I love it. Honestly, I fucking love it. Those streams are epic. They're so much fun. You get so much community engagement. Giveaway streams are my favorite streams because you guys give me so much and then I get to give back to you for a change. And that is, it's worth so much. Like, being able to say thank you for the support and everything else, it means a lot to me. So the prize pool for next weekend, we've got a Cromlech voucher, like a €20 Cromlech voucher. We've got some these Necron-themed token sets and measuring widget sets to give out, because here's Strata Miniatures. We've got some Rival Crafts basing bundles, some vouchers. We've got some minis that I will be painting on stream with the Necronathon. In fact, I probably don't need, say, 3 Scorpec Lords. So he's obviously on the giveaway table. I probably don't need 3 Royal Wardens. So he's on the giveaway table. I need to assemble the Plasmancer, but I definitely don't need 3 of them because they're kind of shit. So one of those will be on the giveaway table. So you'll own your own piece of the Necronathon history, which is quite cool, I think. Done my first 12-hour stream in 2 weeks. Do you have any advice? Loads. Loads and loads and loads. Take a break every 2 hours. And I just mean like a quick 2 minutes, 5 minutes, you know, have a whiz, grab some fresh water, and keep hydrated. Like, that's the number one thing for me. When you get into like hour 8 or so, make sure that in those breaks, you also do some stretches. Like, really, really do some stretches. Your back will thank you. It's super important. I remember sitting in the airport waiting for the airplane 0500 where you were dying on the inside while highlighting the Warriors. Oh, mate, that was... Oh, that was not good. I recently watched a couple of YouTubers try and paint 10,000 points of armies in a week. One thrived, one crumbled under the Horde. So I did the Necronathon, and the video for it... So the day I did it, Miniac, Goobertown, and Ninjon, all 3 of them released a video about them doing the same thing. I'm like, you motherfuckers. Oh, I've been promoting this for like a month. Your video with no like prior warnings. Like, so here's a thing we tried to do. Yay! Like, no! There goes my thunder. Completely stolen. Damn you, Scott! I love Scott. Miniac is one of my favourite YouTubers for mini content creation. I just think he's cool. I think he'd be a fun guy to sit down and have a beer or two with. Although he'd probably be the annoying guy that would be insanely drunk to the point of, I can't stand this dude anymore, in an hour. I'm thinking that's the kind of Miniac sort of special we'd get to. But I think he's cool. But god damn it. God damn it. He lives like 10 miles from you. Nice. Say hi from me. I recently got an airbrush. Would you say best thing to airbrush paint? You think regular paints with thinner would also work just fine? I mean... I use regular paint. Regular paint. No, Danny, it comes in a bottle. And it's also the best name for any paint ever. Piggy Purple Ink. Piggy Purple. Piggy Purple Fuck yeah. But honestly, normal paint and Vallejo Flow Improver through your airbrush will work fine. Remember, when I transfer paints into these bottles, each one of them has a thinner and flow improver put into them to help me get that transfer underway. The other thing to remember as well is that you use flow improver rather than thinner because it has a drying retarder in it. And if you can keep your mixes alive for a little bit longer as they're being essentially like vaporized and then fired through the air. Vaporized is the wrong word. What's not atomized? Fuck. No, gone. But yes, this is your best friend. Absolutely your best friend. It's a drying retarder as well as being a natural thinner because it contains water, right? It's distilled water and a drying retarder, that's it. And that's what you want. One of the reasons behind it is if you are painting just one mini and you really have practiced with your airbrush and you know, you'll know when you're at that speed, you can wet blend with an airbrush because your passes are going down and they are changing up faster than your paint is drying. So the next pass goes down, that first coat is still ever so slightly wet. You will get the smoothest blends possible. You will absolutely crush it when it comes to getting those blends in. That's too thick. Never used flow improver before, how to get some trite. Honestly, if you've got an airbrush and you're not using it, you really, really should give it a go. It comes in all size bottles, but the big one, best value for money. It's about £9, I think, off of Amazon Prime. Maybe 10, it might have just gone up. But you need that in your life. Like, I know I have my way of painting and it's different from a lot of other people's way and it doesn't invalidate their way the same way their way doesn't invalidate my way. But my God, that's one thing. I've heard of a lot of mini painters saying that you shouldn't use flow improver and that you should use thinner. And in some situations they will be right, and in other situations they will be wrong. And I don't want to call out anyone in particular, but whenever somebody gives the advice online about, no, you should use thinner to thin your paints because that's what a thinner's for, you're like, bro. Do it, dramas. He's not a big enough streamer to actually make drama. Otherwise, I would. Ride that train hard, you know. But thinner contains alcohol. Not a lot. If you try drinking it, you're not going to get fucking far, so please don't do that at home. But it contains alcohol, which dries faster than water, which it also contains, which dries faster than acrylic fucking medium, which dries faster than a drying retarder added into acrylic fucking medium. And so, if you're trying to thin your paint and you don't want it to dry on things like your airbrush needle, and you don't want it to dry on the miniature so quickly so you can get those super smooth blends, so you don't want it to dry as it is going through the air in its kind of almost vapor-like form. There is a word for that, I can't remember. Aerosolized form, I guess, but you're not using an aerosol propellant. I don't know. There's a word for it. I'm not an airbrush scientist. I'm just an expert. That's right, Robbie Bear. I'm a hobby expert. You're a cunt. But definitely, Flow Improver is as much a game changer to your airbrush work as a wet palette is to your brush painting work. Like, that's how much of a difference it can make. Everything just becomes a touch easier and you're away. Atomized, you said before. I thought it might have been. I think I said that at one point. But I don't know the technical jargon. I do know, however, what's in the fucking materials that I use. Would you say that a better airbrush brings better results on minis? No. And I have absolute proof of that. So, my housemate nearly scooted across the floor with the headphones still on. So Ben still uses my old airbrush. Okay? This was one that was bought from like a Mr. China. Motherfucker, clean it! This is a dog shit airbrush. It's not good. And you need to lube this thing as well, Drew. I have to teach Ben the art of Zen and airbrush maintenance. Christ, there's a lot of resistance there. I've painted when I had this as my airbrush. Yeah, side cut. That's one of the reasons why I started using my thumb to paint. Because I could fit my finger through there. Because trying the claw method... Oh my god. Has anyone ever driven a car that had power steering and then driven one that didn't? That's what this feels like. Oh, Crooked Grin, I'll get to your question in a minute, and I'll tell you a very little known secret about Vallejo Flow Improver. But I used that airbrush to paint 3 full armies. And one of those armies was painted so nicely it qualified for No Retreat, which is a tournament that you have to qualify to go to by your painting being good enough. And a friend managed to take his grey knights that I painted to that. However, here's the difference. In the same way that any car that's just a beta will get you from point A to point B, you'll get there and it'll be a lot more enjoyable and a lot more fun and not necessarily easier, but it could be easier in a high-performance sports car. You know, you'll absolutely find the same gulf between that Mr. China airbrush and my Iwata Eclipse. Like, mine is broken down at the moment because I was just cleaning it before the stream and it's just there. Otherwise, I'd show you that one, but there's no real need. Trust me when I say it, the Eclipse is, for my money, the best airbrush you can buy. Because it breaks down easily. Breathe hole, you take care, bro. Thanks for tuning in. It breaks down easily for cleaning, which you need to do a lot of for an airbrush. Good airbrush maintenance involves you cleaning the living shit out of it quite frequently. It's also extremely responsive on the trigger. Extremely. Just the tiniest pull gives you paint. Tiniest push down gives you air. And that makes things easier. It's also slightly more accurate than that one because it's got a thinner needle. Or, no, it hasn't got a thinner needle. It's got a thinner aperture at the nozzle for the needle to sit in. And all of those things make a difference. So the comparison, I think, of the Lambo versus the Skoda, for instance, is pretty accurate. Alright, that's that bit done. Let's work on not that bit. This bit. So this is now it's matte varnish dry. In fact, while we work on this, I'm going to quickly matte these 2 bits. Jay, flash it. It's yellow. It's the same colour as my old Skoda. Nice. Don't you go shit talking my Skoda. Hey, listen, bro. Basically, hadn't spent on it. Yeah. Looting the H&S stuff is decent, but it's not, I feel, as good as the Eclipse. And not to shit talk any of the Cult of Paint guys at all. Henry, Andy, Rich, they're fucking absolute bosses. But when they designed their Cult of Paint Infinity airbrush, it was fucking terrible. The most important thing about your airbrush is the trigger. Because if you can't control it, it doesn't matter what else is in that airbrush. Control is everything. It's paramount. Bro, the door is open, and do what I say, not what I do, alright? I am a cautionary tale of things not to do. You know? Besides which, I have a tiled floor, not a carpet. And definitely don't do this in a room with a carpet. Having trouble with mine. I've been told to just get a better one. So that someone's giving you like the easy answer, not the answer. Like, look at your cleaning regimen. Look at the way that you're taking care of the airbrush, and so on. Right? That's usually, in fact, that is the cause, I'd say, for all airbrush fuck-ups, is that. Oakin, how you doing? Nice, broke 100, cool. Every strong I look up, puts his brush in his mouth, man enough to become a good painter. To be honest, mate, it's the habit of a fucking lifetime. All of that, get your brush to a point, it's just... it's habit. Ingrained habit. I used to know a guy who would use his lip as a palette, and that's a step too far from me. Had a lot of problems with H&S. I found it considerably sparking, despite my efforts, couldn't resolve it. So now make the best of it. Never had that issue with the Eclipse at all. The Eclipse is phenomenal, but the H&S stuff, like the Cult of Paint's trigger, super smooth on the top, which meant that your thumb's never gonna sit on there fully. It'll always start trying to push against you with no resistance. And that obviously leads to potential disaster when it comes to an airbrush on your Mini. So I've always hated that part of it. And I saw there was the Cult of Paint were at a tournament I was at doing a painting seminar. And I won an award, actually, from Andy. He gave me a bronze award for one of my Night Armigers in the monster/vehicle category. Despite the fact that there was not a single brushed highlight on it, it was all airbrush work. Because I'd had to get it ready for the event, so I was super impressed I won that. But that's the effect of hazard stripes on you, you know? Got to be done. Yeah, the half a mil needle is a little too big. Like, that's great for primer and great for base coats, but you can't get so much detail work with it. The Eclipse is a 0.3, and that's good for everything. Like, it's wide enough aperture, you get all of the stuff down for primer and base coat without it taking forever, and without primer gumming it up too much. And it's thin enough you can get that detail. The H&S, you have to go from 0.4, which is great for those base coats and primers, but no good for detail, to a 0.2, which is no good for the rest of it. So you've got to constantly change the needle. Like, just get the fucking middle ground sorted out, yeah? Like, I've said about it for a while, and this year I might actually do it, but I'm very, very tempted to pick up a Iowata custom. What the fuck is that? A little bit of jub or something here. But Iowata will do custom built airbrushes that are 0.15 of a millimeter aperture. I think that's like a bit of dirty paint water that someone ended up on the Mini. Well, that's only really irritating. Let's take some of this red, a dot of purple, and then glaze the shit out of that. Yeah, tempted to pick up one of those just for some extreme detail airbrush work. But I am a painter that's known for airbrushing. So a lot of what I do is airbrushing. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm a household name like good old Angel, who is legit one of the most amazing painters with an airbrush out there. Known for the mohawk, which we occasionally airbrush, therefore, you know, my point is still correct. Why are we working on the top part of this? We need to be working on this part of this so I can put it on the thicking base, you knobhead. But now we're here, so we must just get on with it. And so, yeah, we are someone that is predominantly known for airbrushing and therefore having the ability to really, really go in hard on super fine detail with the airbrush, I think would be quite cool. But you don't need that. And think about all of the really fine details you guys have seen me paint on stream with the 0.3 needle. You know, top 3 punk rock bands. Sex Pistols, Rancid, and then just to throw one in there that everyone's going to go, what? We're getting a little bit of pop punk, and we're going to go with Sum 41. Fucking love Sum 41. And he uses 1.15 minute most of the time. He does. And that's one of the reasons why I want to pick one up. Hang on, to be fair, in most of his videos, he's got the H&S airbrush out, and that's a 0.2. Right? But yeah, fucking love Sum 41. That was basically the theme tune of me at the age of like 14, 15. Or Filler No Killer. That was the first album I ever bought. And my God, I've never owned an album that has been as true with its name as that one was. There was nothing on there. It was a bad song. Or Killer No Filler. Fucking loved it. Speaking of music, though, anyone here into Metallica have been keeping an eye on Twitter recently? Weren't they playing on Twitch not that long ago when Twitch was like, shit, we don't want to DMCA ourselves? Oh, man. That's, yep. Fucking hilarious. Fucking hilarious. Napster Bites back. Yeah, see, I get all that. However, to be honest, like, I was kind of fully in support of Metallica being like, look, we work really fucking hard. We'd like to be paid for what we do, please. I think that's a bad thing at all. So I had no issue with all of that shit back in the day. That and the fact I didn't even have the internet, so what the fuck was a Napster when I was a child? But yes, I thought that was extremely funny. Extremely funny. Although, what kind of knobhead is accusing the music they played afterwards of being 8-bit? You do realise that 8-bit music sounded nothing like that. Fucking hell. Well done, peeps. Well done. First album was Megadeth and Euthanasia. Fair. Double tape deck, pressing play plus record. Yeah. That's exactly how we used to pirate music back in the day. And if you needed to get it off of an LP onto tape, you got everyone out of the room and you played and recorded, and that was it. Especially put brush as Viking has done Exani, but it's a Winsor & Newton Series 7 size 1. My favourite brushes. They're perfect. They do everything I need them to do. And like one brush does everything as well. We never have to change to like smaller sizes. Holy shit! Glass Joe! Coming in hot. Dropping 5 gift subs. Dude. What a legend. Let's get some love in the stream for Glass Joe. He's also a streamer, so let's please have a shout out for this dude too. I will give the meeps out before the last stream in a month, so don't worry. Anyone that's just been given a sub will not lose their meeps. You just won't get them straight away. Garbage were fucking brilliant. Loved them. But anyway, we've got subs going out to Myrtle Tim, Thickoz, Yoga Homer, Blade Mark, and the Warp Forge streams. So say thank you if you're one of those guys and you're in the chat. Sorry I've missed a few streams. Glass Joe, we've just missed you, bro. You know, that's all. Glad you're back. Also, how are your own streams going? Like I said, give this guy a follow if you don't already. He's a cool guy. He's a good painter. Okie doke. Right, so here is where we're at. So we need to make up an orange. So that's just red and yellow for those following along at home. Remember, just because Games Workshop have 1,000 different bottles of paint doesn't mean you need to buy a specific orange for this highlight. You have red and yellow somewhere in your collection, I'm sure. Make orange. I did like a 6-hour stream. Nice! Nice. Next weekend, we're probably going to stream for around... It's probably going to be close to a 40-hour stream weekend again. Because we've got a lot to do. 4,000 points of crons. It's a big ask. Big ask. Right, technically speaking, this highlight would be the other side of these. It'd be around here instead of up here. But because of the way that we've got our fade, I think it would just look weird if we did. So we're highlighting the closest point. It's not technically right, but I'm making that decision knowing that it's not technically right. Rule of cool is winning out over rule of common sense right now. And it's also going to look a little bit more uniform when we get around here. And these are the ones that you'll actually see. So we're all good on that front. Yeah, next weekend, going to be so much fun. Really looking forward to it. Muad'Dib, how you doing, bro? Can you help me with a question asked about my newest brush? Sorry, dude, can you ask that question again? I missed it. Really sorry, Chief. Is it that it doesn't feel right? Because brand new brushes will have basically brush soap on them. when they're transported, when they're shipped. So you need to wash that off, like a good proper wash. And just use a little brush soap as well to help get rid of that. Shopping for flow improvement black primer, I got tempted to buy a 3D resin printer again. Need to resist. So with your black primer, I use a 2-to-1 mix of Vallejo thinner and primer. So I use thinners for anything that's like a heavy polyurethane base, like primer and varnish and so on. I use flow improver for paint. I appreciate that acrylic paint is plastic and therefore polyurethane, but certainly primer and so on. And what I do with a primer, and the gloss actually, this says airbrush thinner. This is my pre-mixed primer. So at the shot glasses, we do 2 shot glasses worth of black primer, 1 shot glass full of thinner. There's a agitator in there. You can just hear it rattling around. That helps keep all of that together. That agitation is stainless steel BB. Belgaroth, thank you for the follow, dude. Welcome to the stream. Right, highlights here. Cool, we need to get brighter on all of those. There's no orange to do on any of that lot, which is cool, and that's all top sides or finished off, which is the base bit. Orange here. Not long left. We've got about 15-20 minutes tops before we are at brush down mode for this, and need to start getting on the base. If we are on target, we will do a whip gallery today. If not, then we won't. So apologies to anyone that wanted something put in the whip and getting some feedback on it. It may not happen today because we're up against time. We'll see how we get on. Hopefully, we'll do the whip. I really enjoy doing it. I love that sort of coaching element to what we do here. That's why we do lessons. By the way, speaking of lessons, thinking about it, next month is where I will know how many additional slots I can afford to open up. So if you're someone that's been wanting some painting lessons, it will be a student level class or 2 that opens up, and possibly a different day of the week as well. It will be daytime, not evening time, to help fit people in. That's too bright. Wraith! How's it going, bro? This is the guy I'm painting those blood angels for. If you've been watching the YouTube or Patreon vids, all those blood angels, courtesy of that man right there. Way, that's too intense. Fuck's sake. Came to say hi and got to go. Take care, bro. Speak to you soon. Let's just really glaze that on. Tim, if you asked your brush question again, I haven't seen it, dude. Do my kid a red to drop, and now you were right. It's a lovely red. It's a beautiful red. Give a stream during a hobby though. Well, glad you made your way back, mate. That's all. That's what matters. You found it again. The brush keeps splitting when I have paint on it. The hairs on the outside a couple of times. It's clinically stable. Green stuff, serious painter. First time I use a brush that costs more than 50p. I've never used one of their brushes, but if it's a sable brush, like I said, it will have been shipped with brush soap. So get some brush soap. Either the Masters, I use that a lot. It's a really good cleaner. Or some of the Monument Hobbies Gentastics Drunken Brush Scoop, which is a good brush conditioner. So either of those two things, and add water to the soap. Then using your brush, work up a lather. That's some bubbles in the soap. Carefully, Swoosh that about a little bit. And then rinse that off. Do that a couple of times. You should be okay. If that doesn't solve it, then you've got a shit brush. And you should complain. And then you should go and buy a Winsor & Newton Series 7 size 1. Which you will need to clean. Always, always clean a new brush before use. Always. Same as clothes, right? You don't wear clothes straight from the store. You wash your clothes. Somebody else could have tried that on. Someone with like a sweaty butt crack. Don't want somebody else's second-hand sweaty butt crack. Alright? Alright. Start working around here. So brighten up this orange with, you guessed it, just some more yellow. Not a different pot of paint. Thanks for advice on hanging out. I'm going to be lurking whilst I watch the Warhammer preview. Go for it. Hope you enjoyed the preview. I appreciate we're going to lose a fair few viewers now. And thanks to everyone that stayed. Really appreciate it. But enjoy the previews. If they were 40k related as well, we'd have them on, but they're not. And so my level of caringness is substantially less. Interested in the Cursed City part, and that's about it. I'm not going to go back into playing Warhammer the Old World first. That's just not happening. Right. But it's mostly the fact that we are on a timer for this. We're really up against the clock now. Got to get this sorted today so we can get it on its base. We've got about 10 minutes left to fire through some of this highlighting, so not long at all. It's working though. It's getting there. I want to get to this tiny line here. That's it. Bring in that heat. I've never heard of a single person doing that. You don't? Just... God, you definitely wash clothes after you buy them. Like, no. I suppose if you're buying them online, maybe not. Which I guess is how most people buy their clothes right now. But certainly if I've ever bought anything out of a store, I go home and I wash that. Alright, so looking to increase the power behind this furnace. Power! So as we get closer into the center there, I'm going to start amping it up. I'm going to do one more highlight with mostly yellow. So we've taken some yellow and added a little of our previous highlight color into it. We're again going to glaze that right down and get these on nice and thin. Levi's recommend never ever washing them. That's true. I mean, I would still throw them in like a cold, got to be cold, bowl of water. Don't wear denim, mate. I actually wore a pair of trousers the other day that weren't jeans, and it felt weird. A buddy of mine that lives out in Colorado sent me some supplies, and to clarify, I don't mean weed. That'd just be weird. But just realised that sounded potentially suspicious. But he also sent me a set of windproof, waterproof thermal trousers, so that when I'm sat out in the garage having a smoke, because can't smoke in the house, I'm not cold. And they're really comfy, but they're ever so slightly elastic. And it just felt really weird. I was wearing something that wasn't jeans. Like, what the fuck? Alright, now we've worked up a little, not a lot, just a little, mouth white highlight into this. So now our highlights have got to be skinny. Real skinny. This is the brightest that they're going to get before we start using just mouth white highlight at this stage. And so it needs to have that pop. But we need those gradients, like the shift that we've had from one color to the next. They have to still exist, and so we've got to get these highlights on real thin. Obviously, the way to do that is good brush control. One of the things that helps that out, that was not good brush control. One of the things to help that out is to get good consistency for your paint. And so thin that down. Kind of thought GW totally shot themselves in the foot with the comp they were running where you're supposed to leave a pile of stuff in your basket. Yeah, I know. I bet half those baskets are full of Ventress. Just see my acrylic titanium white in the mail yesterday. So try it out. It was good. It is good. I actually think Morrow white is slightly better, but don't tell Jason that. But it was a solid white, like way better than almost all of the competition out there. The biggest competition for it, in my mind, being white artist ink, which just blows it out of the water. But that's a really unfair comparison because you are making a comparison between a paint and an ink. And yeah, nothing is going to do that. I haven't used Liquitex, though I've been told that that's better than the Dala Rowney ink, the FW ink. But the FW white is what I've got. And I've used more than one vial of that now. And I really like it. A lot of people complain that it splutters too much, but thin it with a little bit of water as well as flow improver, and that problem goes away. The source. Okay. Just remind me of that near the time, Tim, because I don't know if I follow them. Alright. That, I think, looks pretty baller. I want to get another highlight up here, though, so we'll go back to our much more yellow orange that we mixed up. Just get a little dot of that going on here and there to help just lift that once more, just a tiny amount. You dig that deep violet on a Swarm Lord? Yes. I've used Liquitex for a lot of stuff. I just don't have Liquitex white. I'll probably, One Thesaurus, I'll probably pick up a bottle after I've finished this bottle of FWing. Because if it's shit, or it's just not quite as good, then it's not a lot of money wasted. If it's equally as good or better, then it's fine. So... can't wait for my airbrush to be delivered. Hell yeah. It's £5 on Amazon. Nice. Very nice. But yeah, we've got a lot of Liquitex inks. There's probably about a 50-50 split. Let's see, 6, 7, 8 versus... Oh no, we've gone much heavier into Dala Rowney than we have Liquitex. I've got like 5 Liquitex inks and 10 Dala Rowney ones there. But it's not to say that they're bad, it's just those are the colours I picked up at the time. Okie doke. Now we need to get all of this stuff off of what it's attached to. So in this case, I've attached this to a 40mm base. So be careful. Don't cut towards yourselves and all that jazz. He says, blatantly about to do exactly that. Let's get it off the fucking shot glass. That's a good start. We're talking about the white ink for using on again. I missed it. Basically anything. I did a YouTube video, how to paint white, which uses literally 3 colors and no airbrush, and gives a really, really solid white on a Ravenwing Apothecary. But white ink as just a substitute for white paint is a really, really good thing. Less finger, here we come. Fish. If there is less finger, I'll mail it to you. Alright, all these little dabs of glue need to be gone. Not at all creepy. Don't send it to Viking. Oh, hell no. Wizard Kiwi. Cheers, bro. I think I have some somewhere so I can give it a go on something. Definitely, dude. Once you have, it's going to be one of those things that you're like, why the fuck didn't I do this insert number of years ago here, you know? It's like the first time you use a wet palette. You're like, why have I not always been using a wet palette? Probably got quite aggravated in his channel not long ago about cutting towards himself. Look, as someone that was a chef for more than 10 years, not by a lot, but just a little, I'm really good with the blade. As someone that's been a hobbyist for 20 years, I've cut myself. I've made a load of mistakes. But I've also learnt from those mistakes, so I very rarely have an accident. And if I do, it's in no way, shape or form the worst accident I've had probably that week, let alone that day. I mean, I'm fucking terrible with the blade, so I've a lot of scar tape. Brilliant. Side switch, and this is where you're more likely to cut yourself than less. This is not a particularly sharp blade. You're actually way more likely to cut yourself with a dull blade than a sharp blade. Sounds dumb, but you generally have to use more force with a dull blade. As a result, more chance of a slip into injury. So what we're doing here is we're taking off, we basically glued some dead sprue to some bases to anchor these to it. And then I used a little dab of super glue on those. Super glue is extremely brittle, especially in the cold temperatures. So super glue is a really good way of like a temporary mount on something. And if you find that it's not coming apart, chuck it in the freezer. Probably won't hurt the paint much, if at all. But make sure your paint is fully dry before you do. Right, let's get those shot glasses out of the way. Let's hope this all fits on this now. So that's going here. And get some necrotite green on the palette for this. So that's going there, which allows, actually let's put that back in place temporarily. So Lenny has to go, that ladder needs to be on the base. this needs to be here, right up next to it. It's not going to stand up now, but that's got just about enough room. While Lenny is here. Okay. Right. Sorry if I'm ignoring the chat just a little bit. Obviously, this is kind of important. What I'm doing is marking these spots out so that I can throw a lot of pumice on the base around this and then super glue this down while the pumice is also wet so it will bed itself in. This is a 100mm base. Is it something more difficult to do than non-metallic metal? Yes, loads. Non-metallic metal isn't actually difficult. It just requires some practice and requires you to like devote a lot of time to something, right? Which means that all of painting is simple. The most difficult things to do are atmospheric effects on a miniature, I think. Because this is the base that I have. That's it. There's been very little thought put into all of this, by the way. Very, very little thought put into all of this. If you go back and watch the first episode of this stream, it was me with a fuckload of like boxes of sprue. There was some like leftover terrain, trying to work out what we could build as a diorama piece. Just grab one of these a sec and use that as a brace. So you go on there, and then the backdrop goes in right there. Sorry about the headshot. Looks like black magic to me, not metallic metal. Like, the hardest part of non-metallic metal is making it look like metal. And all that really comes down to is having good enough reference material to ensure that you're putting your highlights and shadows in the right place. And, let's not forget, it comes down to knowing how to glaze properly so that you can create nice, smooth transitions. Once you get those two things, good reference material, and the ability to just create smooth gradients of paint, then you're fucking golden. Every other part of painting happens super easily. That was Rumpelmaster, Stuart. Right, let's pop all these to one side, and then we'll grab our Vallejo. Pumice. Sarah, if you're still watching, update on when the pumice is coming. We need pumice from Rival Crafts. All else pales into insignificance. Give me some Rival Crafts pumice. Right, also get me an old ass brush. That one is... Oh no, is it finally given up? No, we can force this to come apart. We'll be fine. Complete new and maybe 4 small minis or 1 big one in the making to do. Seeing stuff like that is just amazing. Yeah, it is, but it's... As much as it's an advanced miniature painting technique, the tools you need in your arsenal are something that every miniature painter should be looking to do and looking to improve on. There's a YouTube video I've done. It's a stream that's been uploaded, so it's like a long watch. But it wasn't that long ago that we did all about how to glaze. And I mean like the theory of glazing, as well as how to do it in practice. And we did a glaze on a shoulder pad and a really smooth transition and color build up, and then did a bit of freehand on top of it. And the glazing is the first half of the video, the freehand's the second part, basically. And all you need to worry about with any of that is that you're practicing it, because it will take time. Anything we do in this hobby takes time and effort. Alright? That's it. But if it was all super easy, then it would be kind of pointless doing it in the first place. Yeah? Or it would be boring. Because it wouldn't be a challenge. You wouldn't have that amazing experience where you finally just nailed it. And it's something else. So, once or else you might be thinking of Flame On Miniatures. But Stu has also done a pretty fucking baller Custodes Dread. It's a Telemon in red and gold. And it is pretty fucking supernaturally good. Right, all we're doing is just getting like a rough base on this. Basically, by doing this, we haven't had to reach in around bits to get to here. And go on, not necessarily deep, but you're going to put plenty of it down. We're then going to get a load of sand and other aggregate put on it after we fix the rest of the mini on. You've got a decent wait time for this to cure, which is why I needed to get this done today, so that I can go literally straight after the stream and visit my girlfriend, who I won't see next weekend because of the Necronathon. Yes. She's like, oh, I won't see you. It's like, look, you can fucking see me at any point during that stream, right? As you can tune in. It's a one-way street, though. Right, let's pop that down for a... God, that nearly hit the fucking top of that fan. Fan is moved off paint board. No, it comes in vials, glass vials. Primus, how you doing? Do you base Space Marine squads before or after painting, just out of interest? Depends on how proactive I've been. The Blood Angels Army is after, the Dark Angels Army was before, just because with these I want to start getting a unit done, and so we kind of got ahead of ourselves a little bit, and so I'll base all of it at the end. Lenny, you are the most important part of this, so we'll start with you. So plenty of super glue. We got some green paint on him. Really not worried about that at all, because that's going to be covered up by pumice. I mean, it's not one way. It kind of is. She can see me, I can't see her. So, base before after is long or short, yeah. This is the first time I'm going to see it all together. This is kind of exciting. Okay. Alright. Let's do this bit. I need to ensure that that is lined up properly, which it currently is not. Actually, you need to be ever so slightly over to the side there. A little more. That's right, there you go. Okay, all right. Just need a little more light around this side. Being extremely ghetto with the super glue right now. Just forcing it into that gap. And then we'll pack a load of pumice in there in a sec as well. Wait, don't put the lid on, we've got 2 more things to do. Light effect on top of the tower is amazing. Cheers, dude! This one isn't finished. We've still got all the highlights to do here, but I need to get to this stage today. Which is why we focused on all the stuff that would be really hard to get to, such as the furnace, and all the lower portions of this on today's stream. So tomorrow in the evening we can do all of the bits that are further up the miniature and easily accessible, or more easily accessible, I should say. Wizard Kiwi, cheers for that follow. Little to left, no more. Yeah, I know, right? Literally half the normal amount of viewers because Sigma. I'm not surprised. It has less of an audience. That's like GW know it. Content creators know it, so they produce less Sigma content than 40k content. There's still plenty of it out there. It still has an audience, don't get me wrong. That needs to be more like that. Bottom line is it's just not 40k. That's all, right? If 40k didn't exist, I'd play Sigma. And I think for a lot of people that's kind of where they're at with it. I know a lot of people play both. I know a lot of people have mad love for Sigma. That's great. Go, bro. Someone's got to play it. They keep producing amazing minis. Like, really amazing minis. I'd say if you had to rank the model ranges side by side in terms of quality, not necessarily aesthetic, but in terms of quality, the GW stuff is better for Sigma than it is for 40k. Right. Whew. It's all glued together. For the first time, Lenny is complete. Might be old by Mr. Square Bases, you know, fancy one. I don't miss the square bases at all. I don't even really miss fantasy. For the same reasons that I really, really, really don't miss things like scatter dice and vehicle armor facings and all those things that were in 40k. I don't miss those things at fucking all. God almighty, if you want a 45-minute argument with somebody, play a bell end that rolls a scatter dice 4 foot away from where the template he's just fired at you is. That's a great way to have nothing but a bad time in a game. Or play someone that can't work out what a 45-degree angle looks like, and so is in the wrong arc. That's right, get some job on the bottom of that ladder. It's all good. Yes, we are intentionally putting base material on a painted mini. Now we're unintentionally doing it with our thumb. None of that matters, but I do want to get a clean camera shot through there at Lenny's face, so kind of having to keep that area relatively pristine. So believe it or not, all this is going to get airbrushed. I'm not even kidding. You're going to be able to get into all of these little areas and really build some nice shadows and some light effects on this, because all of the OSL that we've done needs to be on this as well. Otherwise that OSL effect is going to be absolutely fucking nothing. Right, let's just chuck a load of it in here so we don't get that super glue on the brush. There you go. Snorted. Right, did we miss any of it? No. Okay. Right. Tissue. Give this a good clean under the tap in a minute. It's always good to have a sacrificial brush for all your basing stuff. Blah, blah, blah. What do we miss? Stupid templates themselves. Yes. Well, I don't know about that. Usually it was the guy. If I was playing a rational human being, no issues. But the argument of, no, there's only 4 people under the flamer. No, there's clearly 7. Garrett Scout didn't have a unit-based strategy. I did as well. For fantasy, the old fantasy style. But it made the game for me very... that's my hoodie you're putting your claws into, fat butt. Made the game for me something that is won or lost about 2 turns before it's won or lost, and you know if you're a good player. I've won right now because he's going to go for that charge. I will flee. I've got a flank charge set up. Or he's going to go for that charge. He will overrun that unit in combat, have to move forward, and then I've got him set up. You know, all those things made Warhammer Fantasy Battle very much a foregone conclusion in a lot of those games that I played. Fuck yes. Got the shadow side. We got the light side. We should have, through here, a good view of Lenny. Not quite. Let's get a little more light in that area. It's not ideal, but we're going to get something out of that. Obviously, the camera does not want to pick it up, but you can just about see Lenny through that. I'm really happy with this. This is the very first time we've ever done anything like this. I don't mean like ever. In 20 odd years of mini painting, not even come close to doing something like this. I'm really happy with it. Before all of that pumice dries though, let's grab our Rival Crafts trifecta of good shit. And it's somewhere in there. There we go. Fine beach sand. Some, is that a sealed pot? Yeah, so you don't want to open that one. That one should be this pot. It is not this pot. Damn it. I have got so much stuff from Sarah in this drawer. It's madness. There's the stuff. So the holy triumvirate of Rival Crafts products to use on your bases is these 3 things. 2 different sizes of ballast. This is their scale ballast. It doesn't matter about the colours. Going to paint over it. Big stuff, little stuff, and then the stuff. You need this. You really need this in your life. This sand is so fine that it looks like dirt and sand on the miniatures. Exclamation point Rival, exclamation point Tufts. Got to have this shit. If I'm losing myself 40k stuff, I want 10 minutes back to 3+7 on 2d6. Mate, those are the days, right? But it's not going to happen. And I in part, hope it doesn't, because it slows the game right down. Because there'll be a load of people that insist on rolling them one at a time. Like, ooh, nearly dropped. Like, you got 15 saves to make for that unit, bro. Yeah, I know. Okay, so, right, the first guy. Like, no. Let me show you that. No. It doesn't work that way. The first man is going to make his save. Oh, I've rolled a 10, so he's made his save. I do not need that in my life. At all. But there are enough players that are those players. Anyone remember when you did like 30 wounds to a unit with disgusting resilience? And they're like, right, so it's 2 damage apiece. So I got 15 to take. So the first one, roll 2 dice. Just roll 15 dice. No, it doesn't work like that. Just roll. Oi. There is no 40k stuff, Wamposaurus. It's all Mortal Realms. That's their entire preview day is Sigmar worldy stuff. Is it a Black Knight, which is blatantly what the preview was? I appreciate this. Looks like I'm putting pepper on. Just get the little, like, fine-grained salt going on. No, that's the pepper. This is the salt. This is the fine-grained shit. New White Knight. Yeah, Black Knight. I have enough 40k chats that I'm going to see all of this stuff as soon as I finish the stream. Which we won't be doing a whip. It's already 25 past, so apologies to anyone that wanted some content critiqued. But we will do a whip tomorrow night for sure on stream, so tune in there and you can get your minis looked at. But awake for what? I mean, aside from the wonderful work... Cheers, bro. Right, so what we'll do is we'll let all of this dry and cure, and then we'll go outside and shake off all the excess on there. What we will do, though, give you guys some better angles, is grab this. Cool, we've got enough flex that you can see right at my nose now. And we'll go to... not the pictures on my desk. Come on, I just want a little bit more... cable, thank you. Where's the Facecam only stream? That's my juice and my coffee cup. And this is very bright with this camera. God, that looks like one of those horrible fucking photo edit things you saw on Instagram all the time. Let's lower the light. There we go. We've done the most ghetto way of lowering the light by just putting my hand over the top of the camera, which won't focus on the Abominant at all. You won't, will you? Go on, do it. No. It's ruining your immersion. Well, there's my kitchen. Enjoy. But here we go. This is the diorama in completely shit vision. Wow, terrible. It's not orange juice, it's tropical fruits. Get it right. But there you go. That's what Lenny and Carl look like on the crap cam. That's what we'll call that, the crap cam. I really like it. I think this has come out really, really well. We've got a few bits to tidy up here. We've got these bits of light to do the highlights on and a bit more there as well, which you can do tomorrow night on stream. We've got the OSL to do on the base itself, as well as, of course, paint that base. It's good. It's good. It's like a fourth wall break. Definitely like a fourth wall break. Oh, super tasty. Right, that's it. We are done, and it is raining. I'm happy with this guy. We've got one more stream to do, and Lenny is done. And then we're going to be moving on to our Orc Boy. So this guy, I need to finish the flesh off on him and on Nickit, who hasn't even started yet, on Monday. Because that's going up on YouTube on Friday for a how to paint orc skin. Starting with purple. You guys have seen me do a lot of like crazy color combos, but purple into green as a transition works like a fucking charm, especially on something you want really vibrant. So we're going to do 2 different ways of doing orc skin. That's going to be this week's video. Don't forget, Patreon's video went up yesterday, which was how to paint blood angels. So we did the red armor on YouTube last week. You can do all of the other elements of this guy, so all the gold, get those power swords going on, how to get decals done, how to do glazing. It was a big video, half an hour's worth of content on this guy. It was a lot to do. Even went through some of the how to fix your mistakes. So it's really useful. Really, really useful. So do go check that out. Now, though, it's time to finish the stream. Let's go raid somebody. Let's see who we got. Now, we had a shout out earlier on from somebody, and I cannot remember where they want us to go. It began with an S. That's all I remember. But Frozin is streaming. I bet you he's on his like 12-minute wait screen though. I've got an ad. We'll see. Purple Orcs is great. My old boss in GW used to paint all his orcs' lips purple. I do mine in like a magenta, especially the gums. Like get a real pink in on the gums, and it makes everything look better around that face. There's one more thing to do on that face, which you'll see later on before we start him though. No, Frozin is actually doing actual painting. He's painting his Drukari whilst watching the Warhammer stream. The source painting, that was it. Thank you, Tim. Let's go and see what these guys are at. All I've got is a full screen Warhammer stream right now. I don't know what else is going on this guy's stream, but sure. We've had a redeem for this guy. As anybody else has got any other channel points they want to throw in for a guide the raid, that's where we're going. And then tomorrow night, 9 PM, it's time to finish off Lenny. Get the job done! Thanks, Screen. Been helping while I've been cutting holes in my floor and running cable. I'm glad you could lay some cable while we provided some entertainment for you. So, raiding the source. Glass Joe's gifting another sub. This was the Plank Walker. Plank Walker, I will give you your meeps. Hey, Cook! You motherfucker. I didn't know you were here. Oh, mate, I miss you. Honest to God, miss you. Oh, fuck. Why did you have to say no? Everyone, Aid Cook is a fucking boss. He's a great painter. He's a really, really cool human being. Make sure you give him a follow. The raid's already started, mate. It's got to be done now. So, everyone, peace out. Raid aid at some point. Take care, everyone.